It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Jennifer Patterson-Toohey is here from The Verge, Dan Patterson of Blackbird AI, and Daniel Rubino, editor-in-chief of Windows Central. Microsoft's extending the deadline for Windows 10 yet another year. The Apple prices are going up, and it's not just Apple. Are people going to blame AI for this? And it looks like Mythos is out of jail. All that coming up next on Twit.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 1090, recorded Sunday, June 28th, 2026. Flock of sequels. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show we cover the week's tech news. Hello, everybody. Great to have you here. Great to have our panel here, starting with Dan Patterson, AI guru at Blackbird.ai. He's Senior Director of Content at Blackbird AI, which is dedicated to ferreting out disinformation wherever it lies. Your job's getting busier by the moment.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year, to say the least.
It certainly has.
I've got an allergy frog stuck in my throat, so forgive me.
Oh, hello, allergy frog.
Yeah.
Also here, Jennifer Patterson-Toohey. You see her every month, of course, on Tech News Weekly, and you see her probably every day on The Verge, where she's a senior reviewer specializing in smart homes. Hello, JPT.
Hello, Leo. Lovely to be here.
Any robots fall on you lately?
Yeah, I've got these little sort of fluffy ones in my house at the moment, and yeah, they're very annoying.
Are those the ones that purr and gurgle and like that, or?
So at CES this year, it was Ecovacs, the robot company, and SwitchBot, the smart home company, both released like robot companions that are they're like teddy bears, and well, one's like a teddy bear and one is like a little puppy dog. And yeah, it didn't fall on me, but it keeps falling over. But it's not 180 pounds, which is what happened with the last one. So
it's furry,
fine.
It's fuzzy.
And it's furry, and it's cute, but it's really annoying.
Is that the Kata friend?
Yes, Kata friend.
So cute.
It is
$700. Does it wash your dishes?
No, it just wanders around, and it actually you can turn this off, but one of its features is it'll just wander around and take pictures. So.
So it's like a little spy in your house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Great.
It's cute,
thoughtful.
Though. And yeah,
it's a cute spy.
I still have not figured out who these are for. I've been trying. That's sort of been my mission, because it's definitely not for me. I had like the neighborhood kids come over. Nope. Nothing.
Nobody.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out. So
kids are smart now about AI. They're not be fooled. Also with us from Windows Central, it's great to see Daniel Rubino, editor-in-chief there. Hello, Daniel.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You're going to buy the new Steam machine?
No. It's a little too expensive. But I appreciate Valve. And,
it is pricey.
They are in a pickle these days, but they'll survive this.
They're not alone. The pickle is everywhere. Apple this week announced that they were going to have to, of all people, we're going to have to raise prices due to memory shortages. Tim Cook kind of telegraphed it a day or so earlier in the Wall Street Journal, which Mark Gurman from Bloomberg said, well, that means they're going to do it right away. And he was right. They did it a couple of days later. And it tanked Apple stock, which is not quite to my ankles, but it is down a little bit. Price is up as much as $200 on all of the Apple devices. Jennifer, you said you were lucky you bought your kid's college laptop before the price hikes.
Yes, I was very excited when the Neo was announced because my son is just about to start his first year. And I was like, this is going to be perfect. This is what I will get him. But I obviously dillied and dallied. I couldn't decide whether to get the Touch ID or not. I was going back and forth. And then when the rumors started, I guess these started like about a month ago, that this was going to happen, I was like, I'm just going to bite the bullet. I can always return it. Now I can always return it and make a profit.
Oh, I don't think it works that way, but that's a nice idea. It would be good. It is now $699, which, that was the whole thing about the Neo. It was, it's only $599 for a Mac, but it's only 8 gigs
student
of
discount.
RAM. And $100 off for the students. So it's you were lucky. You got it for $500. It's now $700.
I texted my friends the day it was announced and Prime Day was still on, whose kids are about to go. I was like, just go on Amazon now and buy it. I said, don't worry about whether you actually need it or not, because you can always sell it. But you're gonna, if you decide this is what you want, you're gonna be spending $100 more very soon. So yeah. And like you said before we started recording, I think that Amazon Prime Day was still going on, and they had discounts. I think it was like $10 off, but as soon as the price hike happened, it was now $110 off.
Right.
So that was the day to grab them.
210 in some cases. It's
right.
So yeah, I mean, people were rushing over to Amazon to get remnant inventory. I imagine the same thing to Costco and Target and all the other places that had Apple hardware, and the prices hadn't gone up yet, but they're up now. Yeah. Tim Cook said the price increases were unavoidable. This is Apple's statement. The consumer electronics industry is facing an unprecedented challenge. The rapid expansion of AI data centers has created an extraordinary surge in demand for memory. Oh, and storage, by the way.
Yeah.
Actually, Dan, you were saying that the memory companies have announced that they are booked solid, not just for this year, but for years to come.
Yeah, just before the show, I looked up the major suppliers for Apple and including talking about the Steam Machine, a number of the gaming consoles, but a lot of the consumer electronic devices are powered by three companies, right? SK, Micron, and Samsung. Micron just pushed 16 different companies into 5-year deals. SK is pushing for 5-year deals for almost all of their providers, and Samsung has 3-year deals for all of their providers. This is just for RAM, and SSDs are the same type of deals.
Apple said that the hikes are global, but do not include the iPhone, the Apple Watch, or AirPods. And that's because I think they bought up everything and made them. But they hinted there'll be more price adjustments in the future. And I would expect come September, when the new iPhones are announced, we'll see expensive devices. Microsoft's been bit by this too, right? The Xbox went up quite a bit.
Again. Yeah, again, that was the second time. And Apple, this was the second time Apple raised prices. They raised prices in March too. Yeah, they went up by $100. And yeah, the Xbox went from $499, and then it went up to, I think it was $629. Now it's going up to, I think, $799 or $750, around there. And same thing. We expect that there could be another price hike in 2027. So this is not ending. The earliest we could expect any relief would be 2028. And that's just maybe. That's like you might start to see prices start to come down a little bit. But this is going to go on for a long time. And it's really unfortunate because, as we all know, tech evolves quickly. And we're actually in a really exciting period for technology with amazing power chips and everything coming out. And no one can afford them now. Yeah. So it's really kind of unfortunate.
Why aren't these RAM companies and storage companies increasing capacity? Why aren't they just building plants? This is a chance for them to make even more money.
Well, I think it takes, in the reading I did just before the show, and, we talked about this, we've been talking about it for a year, but in January, we anticipated an increase in the foundries. But I think it takes a significant amount of time for them to increase capacity. And with the amount of money that they're making, there's almost no incentive.
They don't want prices to go down.
Right. Interestingly, to the Valve Steam Machine, high prices, Valve issued a statement. They're not a massive buyer, but they're not small either, and they have some clout. They issued a statement saying that the RAM companies quoted us a price, and it was take it or leave it. Either you took that price, or they wouldn't talk to us again.
Wow.
Yeah, and the smaller the company, the worse off it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, a company
that's like a mafioso. If you take this price, we're not going to ever talk to you again.
Yeah, it's really bad. And the fabs take years to put together. Okay. This is some of the world's.
And by the way, they're not making any move to do it either. It's not like they're breaking ground on new fabs.
Well, Intel is in the U.S. and stuff, and there are a few coming online, but
they're not for RAM, or are they?
I don't know for RAM.
Intel's making processors.
Right. But I know Intel's fabs cost $10 billion.
Right. They're very expensive. Yeah.
And it took like 5 years to put together. You're talking the world's most advanced technology, lithography, which is some of these machines, there's only one or two that exist on the planet. And it's really incredible. I've been to the Intel fab in Israel and got a tour of it. And it's just, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. But there's very few companies on the planet that make this technology. And so that's why it's just, and to ramp up will take many, many years. And then, yeah, there is sort of less incentive, but at the same time, you know, between AI, gaming, and computers and phones, there is demand out there, and consumers won't be able to buy it at these prices. And so I think there is incentive for them to build out, but it's just not something that they can do overnight. So
Apple told Bloomberg, "We know this is not welcome news, and we are working tirelessly to find solutions." What like, oh, there's some RAM in Tim Cook's cushions? What does that mean? I feel like they are asking the federal government to lift restrictions on a Chinese chip maker.
Right.
They actually, because you can't buy chips from this Chinese company, they tried to do this a couple of years ago. Congress thwarted them. But I guess they're saying, well, if only, Mr. President, you would allow this, we could bring prices down. Of course, would only benefit Apple, and it's not RAM. I think it's like
it's storage.
Processors.
Yeah.
So
I find the most egregious thing here, though, from my angle, is that they've increased the prices of the Apple TV and the HomePods, which
for
are
no
like
good reason.
really old devices.
And
like
very
these haven't been
expensive.
updated in years, and they're very expensive already. So you're now paying the HomePod Mini's gone up $30. The HomePod has gone up $50, and then the Apple TVs have just gone through the roof, which I guess because I know they have more memory in them. I mean, the minis, the HomePods don't really have much at all. The Apple TVs, you can buy different levels, but yeah, it's crazy because these are really old, and they say, well, they don't say. Sorry, the rumor is there was about to be new ones in the the next 3 or 4 months anyway. So it seems like, why do this now? And it's just when you're buying, if you're buying a new MacBook Neo or a new MacBook Air that's like a modern, recently updated device, okay, you it's miserable, but you stomach it. But for something that is very old and really not actually, I wouldn't say worth that money, it's a real kick in the pants.
$139 to $200. I think it's a good thing, but I'm not sure I'd want to spend that much.
No, they're great devices. Yeah, I mean, they do work.
Especially if the new one's coming out.
Don't mean to imply they're bad devices. They're just old, and there's a new one coming soon. Yeah, that's the kind of push and pull here. It's like, I just would have thought you'd just leave these ones. I mean, but who knows what's going on in Cupertino? Because apparently these have been, according to Bloomberg, the new models have been ready to go for a while now. They're just waiting on the new Siri AI to sort of catch up, and then that will come to the home, because to date, none of the new Siri has come to the home
And that puts
devices.
more pressure on Apple because the Siri AI requires more RAM.
Right.
You did a review on Windows Central of the MSI, I love the name, Claw.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is a handheld, or should I say a claw-held gaming device, which you loved.
Yes.
But
handheld gaming is one of the fastest growing areas right now in gaming that we see. There's a lot of interest. And it all started with Nintendo Switch, and then Steam Deck really set the bar. And now we're seeing these Windows handhelds. And Intel has a brand new chip for this called the G3.
Isn't that ironic? Because Intel, which struggled with mobile, made the Scale processor, which was a huge flop, and basically lost the mobile market.
Yep.
Now they're back in, I guess you'd call this a mobile market. I mean, it's smaller than a laptop. It's priced like a laptop, $1,800.
It was probably at least $500 more than it was supposed to cost.
Yeah.
Because we see these things usually topping out at $12.99, which isn't cheap, but this is the top tier handheld on the market.
Based on processors, screen size, what makes this so good?
The processor is, so AMD really set the bar here. They were the ones that are making all the chips. They make them for Nintendo, they make them for the Steam Deck, and they were making for Windows devices. And only MSI stuck with Intel. And they were just using laptop chips. And now they came out with a custom chip for handhelds.
This
and
is the
it
G3.
is between, yeah, and it's between 35 and probably 45% faster than AMD's top chip right now. I mean, it's like night and day difference. And so for the first time, with handheld gaming, you can play Steampunk, not Steampunk, Cyberpunk 2077 around 90 frames per second on this thing. Like
I can play that on my Nintendo Switch too. Not probably
at 30 frames,
but not at this resolution, at this frame rate.
My eyes are only 28 frames a second, so it's okay.
Right.
And the Claw is really, I mean, it's almost a PC.
It is
the people
a PC.
I know who've taken it home have really, they plugged it in and it's been a functional PC.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, you can dock it and act as a mini PC. It's got Thunderbolt 4 on it. It runs Windows, right? So it's the handheld device we've been waiting for, or at least I've been waiting for, because like I said, you can play true AAA top tier games at least 60 frames per second, but now we're hitting over 100 frames per second. Part of that's because of Intel Frame Gen, the XeSS, their upscaling technology. It's really just amazing technology that we have in this thing, but because of RAM and the storage costs, like I said, it's about $500 more than what it should. $1299 already wasn't cheap, but $1799 isn't, That said, if you go to Best Buy, at least when I checked yesterday, they were already sold out. Now, how many do they have in stock? I don't know.
Wow.
But at least on the subreddit, a lot of people are buying it. So,
boy, there's a market for these things. That's really interesting. Is this replacing the console market?
It's definitely impacting it because you can just, with a Thunderbolt 4 dock, connect this up to your TV and just do just like a Nintendo
4K?
Switch. Yeah, you do 4K gaming and all that kind of stuff. You can connect an eGPU to it. Like, it's really endless what you can do with this thing.
You can connect an eGPU?
Yeah.
Wow. And this is the ARC graphics that Intel has been. It's interesting. Intel, we really, like a year ago, counted them out, down and out.
Yeah, their new chips are the Core Ultra series, which is this is based off of with the B390 GPU. They're in the game. They're pulling ahead of AMD, who I think is a little bit more focused on server and desktop right now. They're still doing well there, but when it comes to handhelds, they just lost the crown. And it came to laptops, Intel's still crushing it.
Yeah.
So I would not.
So you say get an Intel Ultra processor over any of the other?
Yeah, the Core Ultra 3 is like finally found the middle ground where the first generation was a lot of performance. The second generation was concentrating on efficiency. And now the third one combines both into a really stable platform that's just really efficient and fast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Boy, the worm has turned. That is really amazing.
I mean, Intel's chips did do well when it came to their quarterly earnings. It was the other stuff that they were losing money on.
Is it Lip Bhutan, their new CEO, that's turned this around?
Yeah, they're really focused on gaming right now, and their integrated graphics is the big story because AMD used to beat them left and right when it came to integrated graphics. But now you can buy one of their, Ultrabook laptops and still do 60 frames per second on AAA games just through integrated graphics, no NVIDIA. So they've come a long way, but it's just so inappropriate, and for timing because you have the MSI Claw, you have the Steam machine. And they're both extraordinary devices, but they're just priced out of people's, it doesn't make sense anymore for most people.
Isn't Microsoft, though, moving away from Intel towards ARM processors, the Snapdragon?
I wouldn't say they're moving away from, they're definitely embracing. But they've always said that they were going to welcome all, but not treat anyone specifically, better. Apple, of course, clapped their hands and said, we're done with x86. Everybody switched to ARM. That's the end of it. And, Microsoft can't do that because of legacy, enterprise, hospitals, government. So, but now that NVIDIA is on board with the RTX Spark, it actually helps Qualcomm because it's just going to make the ecosystem that strong, much more strong. So it's really, again, fascinating to watch NVIDIA and Qualcomm are kind of on the same side now, and then you have Intel and AMD on x86 on the other side, and they're all honestly doing some crazy, really good technology. It's just no one can afford it
What happened that suddenly chips got so good? Is it EUV? What is the technology that changed all this?
I think that definitely plays a part on it. They keep going down to the nanometer. I think Apple, honestly caught a lot of people off guard with their
they kicked them in the
chips.
butt. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I would talk to Intel about this, they're like, there's nothing inherent about x86 that makes it inefficient compared to ARM. Like they said, it's not that.
It's not
just
RISC versus CISC.
No, I mean, it's just that they come from different pedigrees, right?
Right.
x86 came from desktop. And so it was always optimized for desktop. And then they had to back it down for laptop, where they built the M series for mobile smartphones and built it up to desktop, right? So they came from different points, but there's nothing inherent about x86 that supposedly it can't compete with ARM. And we're starting to see that. I would still say Qualcomm is still more efficient than Intel's x86, but I can't deny there's a point of diminishing returns, right? If your x86 laptop is getting 10 hours a day of real world life, usage, does it really matter?
Do you need
Right?
22, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, how many people aren't going to not charge the laptop when they get home? So
what's really changed though, and this is what's driving the component shortage too, is AI and people wanting to, or maybe they don't. Actually, Microsoft has kind of learned its lesson. They're backing down a little bit on putting Copilot everywhere. Do people?
Right.
Are they looking when they're looking at laptops now? It sounds like they're looking at gaming. Are they looking at AI also?
No, but for gaming, it's interesting because when you have like Intel XESS, their frame gen and upscaling technology, that's AI, right? That's using that kind of technology. And
there's a definite kind of correlation between. That's why you can use GPUs for both gaming and AI, right? It's matrix transforms, it's mass movement of data and transformation of data. So the GPU can do it for games. It could also do it for AI.
Yeah.
So there's some similarity, but now we also see these what Microsoft calls NPUs, which are a different part of the processor. It's all very confusing. Are people reasonably blaming AI for this chip shortage? Is this one of the components creating this AI kind of mass AI hatred
100%.
among the general populace? Dan?
We actually, in fact, I was just loading our research on this. We just did a ton of research on the AI backlash and the data center backlash. And there are a few components at play here. Yes, the primary backlash is organic, but look, there is a significant amount of Russian and Chinese inauthentic.
Disinformation.
Well, it's challenging. The differences between disinformation and misinformation are nuanced, but there's certainly a large amount of activity in the data center market. So where a conversation might hit, let's say, X velocity, it is then amplified by a number of inauthentic voices, and it hits more communities faster, and it seems louder than it actually is.
So that's very interesting to me because as an AI fan, I was starting to worry. We just had a big rug pull from the federal government on Anthropic's most capable model, the best model I think most of us agree we've ever seen, Fable and Mythos. And it concerned me that maybe the federal government, the Trump administration, was putting its finger to the wind and saying, oh, you know what, people hate AI, so we can do this with impunity. There's definitely that feeling. Polls say 71% of people say they don't want a data center near them. 18% of people, only 18% of people trust the AI search results they're getting. And I can go on and on. There's a real fear of AI out there. But you're saying this is being amplified somewhat by bad actors.
I think part of it too is, sorry, I was just going to say that the technology is coming top down.
Yeah, there's
we're
also
all
a
old
techlash going on.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're all old enough to like smartphones that came from a couple nerds with Blackberries, pocket PCs, and it developed kind of organically. And then like Apple came and sort of really set that category off. But a lot of technology starts off with a few early adopters and then integrating it, becoming enthusiasts, and then it eventually gets pushed to the mainstream.
The garage model.
Yeah, and this feels very much like it's being forced upon us
This
from
is the
other
opposite
people.
of that. Yeah.
And
Yeah, like
But
no
there's
one's
a
asking
reason for
data
that.
centers.
These frontier models require huge amounts of capital.
Right. Sure.
You have to be able to afford thousands of NVIDIA GPUs, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. All right, I need to take a break. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Jennifer, go
I
ahead.
was going to
and then
say,
I'll
I
take a
think
break.
there's the fear of the unknown too. Like
Absolutely.
the difference from, you know, the ground up technology that's tried and true and tested, and this AI that the companies that are developing even themselves don't seem to know what it's capable of. And that is sort of
We're going to get to that in
fear.
just a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Something I think people are rightly concerned about, but I can
Your son's
definitely
going to
see the
college. Is he
amplification.
nervous about his job prospects in the AI era 4 years from now?
No, but that's because he's not really focused on 4 years from now. But he wants to be a pilot, which I'm like, well, I did the research, and it's going to be a while until we have planes that, I mean, I know planes can fly themselves, but it's going to be a really long time until people are comfortable being in planes without pilots. So
Yeah, they often do land themselves, but you still want to see a good-looking fella in a uniform up front.
Exactly.
Or gal. All right, we're going to take a little break and come back. Let's talk about this, the AI rug pull and what it's spawned, which is, I think, very interesting in the tech world. We've got a great panel. Jennifer Patterson-Toohey is here from The Verge. We have some home automation stuff to talk about with you as well. Daniel Rubino from Windows Central. He's the editor-in-chief there. And Dan Patterson from Blackbird AI, where he's the senior director of content. And you were listening a couple of weeks ago. Larry Magid was on when we had the little wake for the end of CBS Radio News. What a sad moment that was, Dan.
It has been a moment.
Well, it's part of the world is changing. And what's interesting is it's changing faster and faster and faster. And I think that's upsetting to some. And then there's some of us, and I think a lot of the people who got into technology because we were change junkies, because we like to have a vision of, oh, look, it's all changing. It's like sci-fi. And so some of us embrace it. I think the vast majority go, oh, no. Our show today brought to you by Simply CX. We've reached the point where having AI is no longer a competitive advantage. The advantage comes from what you build with it. That's the focus of Simply CX, a podcast from Microsoft, hosted by Nicole McKinley, Microsoft's global customer experience leader. The show explores how organizations are applying emerging technologies in ways that are creating real business impact today. If you're looking for a place to start, check out their recent episode featuring Jess Lauren, founder and CEO of Global Objects. It provides a fascinating look at a technology you may be hearing a lot more about in the coming years: photoreal digital twins. Nicole and Jess discuss how these highly realistic digital replicas are being used across industries from entertainment and education to energy and cultural preservation, and why trust, accuracy, and emotional connection are becoming just as important as the technology itself. It's the kind of conversation that helps you see beyond today's AI headlines and get a glimpse of where digital experiences may be headed next. New episodes drop every other Tuesday. Find Simply CX wherever you get your podcasts and tell them This Week in Tech sent you. Thank you, Simply CX. So how long ago has it been now? 3 weeks, 4 weeks? The White House abruptly pulled Anthropic's Fable model. So abruptly that many of us were in the middle. It happened to me. I was in the middle of a big job. I was rewriting software we've been using for 11 years. It's the core of our operation. I thought, here's a chance. I finally got a model that can handle this giant complex. And all of a sudden it said, this model no longer available. And I thought, crap, did I forget to pay my Anthropic bill? But no, it was true for all of us. I was more upset, I think, than a lot of people. Maybe technologists in general, AI users were more upset than the general public. I don't know if the general public was even that aware of it. They were so much more concerned about the green reflecting pool than they were about this. But I saw this as a really scary precedent where, without consultation with Congress, without really any research, as far as I can tell, the federal government blocked an American product. This wasn't even a foreign product, blocked an American product from its users.
Now, what was the reasoning here? Was it like, this is too powerful? Wasn't it, this is too powerful, it could like cause chaos and damage?
I think Anthropic kind of hurt itself because they did promote that heavily.
That does feel like something a government should be concerned about, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I get your point. Like, if the US government stopped Apple selling its iPhones, okay, for no
And you could make the same case that all of the iPhones made in China, so it's a huge security threat, right?
It's
we don't know what
unilateral.
Chinese...
sorry to interrupt.
No,
it's a unilateral top-down
That's
mandate.
what scared me.
Right. Whether the public knows or cares is almost irrelevant. It's an American-made product where an executive branch issues an order and can shut down a product. I think that's what scared a number of technologists, and if not the public, a number in the business of people in the business community.
Yeah, well, there was an interesting impact, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I should mention that Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, flew to the G7 summit in France, met with the president, and in an Axios interview shortly thereafter, the president said, I like these guys at Anthropic. They're okay. Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, tweeted, aha, you see what happens? You see what happens? He's the one who called Anthropic a supply chain risk. Again, a designation usually reserved for foreign actors, not American companies. Well, apparently, the United States has now lifted the ban a little bit. Semaphore had the scoop read Al-Baghdadi and Ben Smith. U.S. releases powerful Anthropic model Mythos, Mythos is basically the same as Fable. It's just an unrestricted Fable, as far as we can tell. Has allowed Anthropic to release it to more than 100 U.S. institutions. Remember, originally that's what Anthropic did with 50 companies. It said, okay, this thing is so powerful, we're going to give it to you, Microsoft, for example, to fix any flaws before it gets out to the public, and bad guys use it to attack you. So now this is called Project Glasswing. Apparently it's still on. The Trump administration on Friday, just 2 days ago, said Anthropic could release Mythos to more than 100 institutions Friday afternoon. Didn't say anything about Fable, and it didn't say anything about open to the public either. Nor did it mention the original restriction was that no foreign nationals should be able to use these models. That was the pretext the Commerce Department used. But of course, since Anthropic doesn't know the citizenship status of anybody using its software, they had to block it for everybody. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, said that they had significant progress in the intense daily talks between Anthropic and the government. Anthropic is committed to work with the U.S. government on protocols and standards and releases. The other shoe that dropped, same day, is that OpenAI had decided to release its latest model, which also has a cyber security component, to a short list of government-approved partners. What has essentially happened is the Trump administration has done a complete about-face. When Trump came into office, he decried President Biden's AI regulations, said, we're going to have no regulation. This is how we succeed in the United States is, just compete, make the best models you can. We're not going to regulate AI. Completely reversed that with the Fable block, and now is saying we want to approve every model before it's released to the public. So, Jennifer, you make an interesting point. If this is so dangerous, shouldn't the government protect us from it?
The government's protecting our kids from social media, right? Like there is such a fine line between what we think the government should protect us from and what it shouldn't. And it also depends on who you are, whether you think they should or shouldn't. But this does, to my point about the fear, there is a fear amongst regular people about AI, whether it's founded or not. There is a concern that this technology is going to go somewhere scary. I mean, we've all seen the movies, and we've seen that the tech companies, I mean, just from in my space, when I talk to tech companies about LLM powered smart voice assistants, and I'll ask them questions like, would it be capable of doing this or this? And they're like, that's a good question. Why don't you try and we'll see? So you don't know, like you don't know what this is going to do in my house.
Yeah.
You know, I get that this is a powerful and exciting technology, but before we unleash it on people, we need to know, as the technology companies need to know what it's going to do and what it's capable of, and be able to control it. And it feels like we're in a moment. And Dan, I mean, you're much better, positioned to speak to this than I am. But I would love to know, like, is that a moment that we need that's ever going to change, or is this technology always going to be a step ahead of us? Concern.
Yeah. I think, to your point, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jennifer, but I just want to agree, especially with something you said earlier, that there is a top-down and a tech clash. We saw this, with untested technology, just like you've experienced with consumer products in the home. We saw this with consumer products like social media, where they began as fairly simple news feeds. We saw this algorithmic testing on the general public and the expansion of social media into ways that the public is generally, or appears to be generally, uncomfortable with. And now perhaps we are seeing a very similar effect happen with the advancement of artificial intelligence, where these products are incredibly powerful, and the effect that they have are very similar to what you said about smart home devices, where will this be good? Will this help? I don't know.
Here's my issue with this. For one, is let's assume that like, I don't know, atomic bombs, that AI has all this potential for danger, and so that it's not unreasonable for any government to put some restraints on it. The question, unlike an atomic bomb, AI is very amorphous, and the question is, well, who is going to judge it, and how are they going to judge it? There's also the issue, this is raised by Dean Ball, who teaches AI policy at Yale Law School, as a visiting fellow at the Heritage Society. He, in his hyperdimensional Substack, says there's also the issue that there's a side effect when you do this. For one thing, if you take a month to approve an AI, this is moving so fast, you may have actually killed that AI. They need to get to market fast and build an audience, because the next AI is coming about a month later. So you're throwing a monkey wrench into a very fast moving machine. There's also a much larger issue, which is that you might do this in the US, but China and other countries are not holding back. One of the results of the Fable rug pull, and I'm going to call it a rug pull, is that France with its Mistral, China with DeepSeek and ZAI's GLM model released better models. GLM is very, very good, GLM 5.2. All of a sudden, people are saying, oh, well, if the American government can just stop any model, I guess I better not use American-made models. There's plenty of other choices. It's also taught companies to not count on American AI. Just like many other things in the United States, we don't know what's going to happen next. So there's a real risk. It's a very difficult thing to answer, because I agree with you, Jennifer. Maybe these things are dangerous. I just don't know how we can count on a government, especially this government, which doesn't really seem to think much of science, to determine what's dangerous or not. It almost feels as if it's an economic restriction as opposed to a technical restriction. I don't know. What do you think? This is a hard one to solve. Ball writes, frontier models are trained at an enormous cost, and a significant fraction of that cost is recouped in the first few post-released months that they're broadly available. After that period elapses, the models become sub-frontier competition emerges and margins compress. Every week of delay is eating into the narrow window that labs have to make their accounting work. So that's problem number one. You're undermining this entire industry. Now, maybe if you think, and as many do, AI, it's BS. We don't need AI. We'll be better off without it. You don't see that as a problem. I would submit that AI is a very significant technology, and its advance is very important to us. And we don't want to let others do what we could do better.
Leo, are you making... I hear this argument frequently, and I don't know where I come down on this argument. But are you aligning with the argument that if we don't allow our models to be the frontier models and the cutting edge models, then we cede that to China and other competitors?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly.
Right.
You're basically undermining an American industry.
Right.
It's kind of the opposite of what they're doing with the auto industry. They're protecting the auto industry by banning Chinese cars. Well, what would happen if you banned American cars? You would have a lot of Chinese cars in the United States. That's what we're doing. We're banning American models. There's also a larger question of, can you even prove a model's safety? No one has yet made a model that's not jailbreakable.
So let me ask, something else. Much of our conversation is centered around consumer AI, or at least B2B, in the way that when we talk about AI right now, we think of, it evokes companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, and others. But earlier in this conversation, we also talked about another use of AI in frame gen in gaming, right? And AI has machine learning applications. We use artificial intelligence at Blackbird in a number of ways that are not consumer focused at all. Is this conversation about AI simply around these somewhat consumer-facing and business-facing frontier models, or is there a broader conversation to be had?
Well, there is, absolutely. I mean, this is a very intractable problem. To go back to the garage model of technological advance, unlike anything we've seen before, AI requires huge capital investment. And you've got to, make all these GPUs, and you've got to build all these data centers. There's nobody developed, well, maybe there is, but so far, there's nobody in their garage creating the latest frontier model.
It's not like Biz and Ev coding Twitter using Ruby on Rails.
Right. It takes billions, some might even say trillions. The Fable model, we don't know how much it cost or how big it was. It's estimated it might be 10 trillion parameters, which means it probably cost hundreds of billions of dollars to create. And they don't stop, by the way. It's like, you don't just make it and now it's done. You got to make the next one.
That's the weird issue with all this, which is fundamentally, is the architecture even the correct approach? Because all this is large language models, and you just keep throwing more and more power at it. And it's this idea that somehow if we keep doing this, we'll reach AGI. But we haven't defined AGI yet. We don't understand consciousness. We don't understand intelligence at that level. And so there's a lot of questions about, is this even the right approach, right? There's different views of AI, including more semantic analysis. There's visual analysis. There's all these other components.
Yeah.
Because people like Jan LeCun and Fei Li say, oh no, you've got to do, you got to do physical world stuff. And all of that should happen. I'm not saying that shouldn't happen. All of that, and some of that may end up in somebody in a garage coming up with this great new way of doing it. But we haven't reached the end of what. By the way, you don't have to stipulate that we're going to achieve AGI or anything. It's just that as we have continued to make these models bigger, they've gotten better and better and more capable. And I think they've changed a lot of things. They've changed how chips are made. NVIDIA's, has just announced that they're releasing a chip that's designed by AI. And that as that gets better and better, it will get better and better as it develops better chips. Business processes are changing. People are saying the SaaS marketplace for business tools is going to die because all of a sudden everybody's writing their own. Every business I know of is implementing an AI strategy of some kind, rightly or wrongly. This is fairly important to the economy. This is another thing Ball points out. You might actually be bringing on this AI bust that everybody's so worried about simply by undermining you might be creating a market panic.
Well, rent prices will go down at least.
Right. Hey, here's the good news.
I think that consumer B2B business and like conflict is very real though. And I think that, I mean, my generation, my children's generation is the sort of loudest voice right now against AI. Like we saw all of the college commencement speeches with people booing the tech CEOs. And my daughter is like violently opposed to anything AI, mainly because she's very creative and she's very opposed to the sort of the way it's potentially stealing artistic jobs. And she, you know, I think there needs to be a distinction here. And I don't know how this comes about, but it's important I think what's happening in business and technology in terms of how this is helping with processes and helping us develop and create more powerful, more useful tools for technology and business is very different from how it's being unleashed in the regular world, how it's affecting people's regular jobs and what they're doing on a daily basis and how they're interacting on a daily basis. Like use these LLM chatbots that people are now relying on for all their information, and you know, some becoming like friends, and this is like their main connection to society. Is those types of things are a different. That consumer focused, that consumer facing implementations of this AI feels very not well thought out yet.
Right.
And we're unleashing it on people who don't understand it and who are like, wow, suddenly I can do all of this stuff. And where is that going to lead us versus companies and businesses that are, you know, implementing this as tools for creating a better workflow. Those are two very different use cases of this technology.
I can hear people, some of our listeners, I get emails every week. Enough with the AI. Who cares? I can hear people saying, good.
Yeah, I mean, your average consumer has not seen any improvement from this, right? They see AI slop on Twitter.
Right.
They see a lot of fake news kind of stuff happening. Like when AI solves cancer, and of course that's broadly speaking, isn't going to happen, of course. But once it starts solving diseases, right, which is what's the promise, then people, I think, will start to come around to it. When it starts to actually make your life easier and solves problems for your regular consumer versus, oh, by the way, everybody's going to lose all their jobs in like 5-10 years. We don't know what we're going to do. Like that's what, from your average consumer standpoint, this is happening to them, not with them. Yeah. They haven't seen any benefits. And all they hear is, oh my God, these models are so strong. They're going to completely undermine everybody's jobs. And, we don't need radiologists anymore, right? That famous example.
Which didn't happen, by the way. We need more radiologists. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but I think that's the concern. It's like, well, are we supposed to be believing these people, right? Or should we not believe them? No one knows how to react. So
there's a lot of confusion, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. And these companies benefit from hyping up their models. Like it's so powerful, it's too dangerous. We need the government to like regulate it,
like
right?
A movie trailer.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
That's the super intelligence AGI hype, right? That we are going to achieve some sort what we've really done is build Adobe Creative Cloud. Like it can replace some tasks and make them a little more efficient, but it's not going to cure cancer, at least not yet. It's not going to do a lot of the things that it was, to your point, Daniel, and yours too, Jennifer. It is simply happening to people, and there is some utility, but the hype certainly exceeds the capabilities right now. And if you look at it realistically, it's Photoshop.
I would say we've seen a lot of evidence that some really amazing things could happen, which we may never get now because of this fear. And that we may never know because we're just going to end up shutting this whole thing down.
Do you really think we will?
Fear.
I don't know that. I think your point, Daniel, about how it's a peak and trough. Like people are scared because it's happening to them is very true. Like, I mean, this is a big tangent, but it's interesting. Like, what would you say is one of the most hated companies in this country right now? I would say drug companies have often been at the top list of like, we don't like drug companies.
Interesting you say that, because that's a similar situation where it takes huge amounts of capital to create new drugs. So
there was a really interesting article, and I want to say it was in the Wall Street Journal, and it was about the history of Eli Lilly, which is the company behind Zepbound, one of the GLP-1 drugs. Which I am on, I should say, so I will shut up. Well, and the interesting thing was the CEO was like saying, we have gone from getting hate mail, because there was a big issue around diabetes, around insulin at one point, where they had a really they had a shortage, and it was hard for people to get this life-saving medicine. And so they were getting hate mail from people. And now he says we get literal love letters from our customers who are like, what you have done has saved, you hate big pharma until it makes a drug that saves your life. Really works. Yes. And I feel like that's where we will probably go with AI on an individual basis, like as individual people find real value from it. That will there'll be a groundswell, if that happens, a groundswell of more popular opinion. And then on a broader scale. That's been my experience. I've used it. As part of my job, I've gone heavily into using AI in a lot of ways, and it's found it incredibly useful. And it constantly impresses me by doing things I never would have thought a computer could do. And I'm not saying it's alive or conscious or intelligent. I'm just saying it's very, very effective. It's the same. Big Pharma is a really good example, because it does take... you could invent a new drug in your garage. It happens all the time, but you could never release it because you have to test it. You have to manufacture it at the scale. It is a capital intensive industry. There's negatives to that. Salt, which turns out to be a really good disinfectant, isn't widely promoted because nobody makes any money on it. That's a simple example, but there are many examples of that, But at the same time, I don't think we want to shut down pharmacological research. We might be scared of it, but we don't want to shut it down. Maybe the solution is to regulate it in some way. But I don't know how to regulate AI. Which brings us back to our point. Right. What we started here is the government was trying to stop AI, but in a ham-fisted way, which wasn't really helping. Right. Yeah. Oh, well, we haven't solved anything, but we had a good conversation, and that's what I hope for. And we'll watch with interest. I mean, it's all complicated because we have an administration that really is anti-intellectual, is very anti-science. And so it's complicated by all of that as well. And also it seems to be that any company that kisses up to the presidency sufficiently is going to be favored. And the big mistake that Anthropic made was saying, no, the military can't use our models for autonomous killing machines or spying on Americans. And that pissed off the administration so much that now we are 6 months later, basically shut down. Yeah. So is this political or is this is this a smart technological move? I mean, it's political, right? But it sure looks that way. It doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be some. It might be the right thing to exercised. Do. Yeah, they might have done the right thing for the wrong reason. I don't think so. Yeah, I want my Fable. I want my Fable back. We've had, in fact, I interviewed Alex Stamos last week. Very highly respected security guy who says Fable wasn't and isn't doing anything that almost any other model couldn't do. That this particular horse has already left the barn. We already have models that can find security flaws. And that's technology. That's the biggest problem with government and technology, is they're always 2 years behind what's actually happening. Right. So it's impossible really for government to regulate it. It sounds very Star Trek-y, but ultimately I think this has to become a global solution. This has to be something that needs to be managed by all of the countries, not individual countries, because it is, like you say, if one country regulates it, it's not going to stop another country. I mean, someone was mentioning this in the chat, comparing it to like the atomic bomb. If it's really that dangerous, this needs to be something that has a global answer, not an individual, not each country.
Yeah, I agree. It needs to go through the UN, but then to, Leo's point, like it's going to kill, it's going to slow down everything because government is really, really bad when it comes to technology in general. And it's going to be even worse with this, right? Because it's so complicated and so technological. And then you have things like, would China, we're so skeptical of China, right? Would they really develop this and abide by any agreements? How do you enforce that, right? At least with nuclear, it's like you can, there's centrifuges, right? There's uranium, there's
we have
physical
uses of atomic energy and non-peaceful. And we've attempted to, not very successfully, but we've attempted to stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons at the same time as we've encouraged the proliferation of atomic energy. That might be a good analogy for this, that there are safe uses of AI and unsafe uses of AI. I think it's a little clearer what the unsafe use of of fusion and fission is. That seems a little clearer. AI, it's a little bit more muddy. I don't know. It puts me in an awkward position because I agree a lot of technology is dangerous. Technology, I would say itself is agnostic, but it can be used by humans in a dangerous way. I would hate to see the American government decide which chips American companies could make and which they couldn't. That would be a mistake.
Do you guys think that there's going to be some sort of AI catastrophe? Like the AI does something or something happens because of AI and causes
AI will never do anything bad by itself. There will always be a human actor who either said, hey, maybe we should let AI control atomic weapons.
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing with the terrible situation with the young man who killed himself because his chatbot basically told him how to do it.
Like the anthropomorphization.
That felt pretty awful. Felt like that was,
well, it's a terrible outcome.
Yeah, but
he could have done a Google search too.
No, but it was, I mean, you really was focusing. I know we've talked about it on the show, but it was escalating the situation.
Yeah,
and that was AI doing that. There was no human behind that doing that. But
Daniel, it might be like frog in a pot, much like climate change, where a number of smaller, seemingly innocuous components stack up. And we find ourselves in a challenging situation. But, Jennifer, to your point, that is a tragic occurrence. And we can maybe find analogs in the social media world. In fact, some of the recent rulings about social media and the obligation that social media companies might have in terms of regulating access to it. And
here's the question. Do you regulate a technology because of the edge cases?
Yeah, right.
To protect the edge cases, and by doing so, defang it for everybody else. It's like, okay, let's eliminate children's playgrounds because some people hurt themselves on them. You can try to make them safer. That would be a reasonable thing. But you don't. It's a dangerous precedent to regulate based on the edge case. We wouldn't have cars if that were the case, right? We wouldn't have a lot of the things we have in modern life.
The problem here was that it wasn't. There were no guardrails. There was no safety in place, and
I don't think that this is the problem. I don't know
now.
if you can create safe. This is
right,
kind
which
of
to my point is like they don't. Even the people creating this don't know how powerful it is, and that is a reason to be scared of this.
For every zipper, there's going to be some guy who gets his penis stuck in it, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't have zippers. Is all I'm saying. Right?
There's the title of the podcast.
No, it's definitely not the title of the podcast. Let me take a break before I get myself in any more trouble. I'm not saying it necessarily ever happened to me. I'm just saying it could, okay? But we shouldn't ban zippers because of it.
It does feel like everything about AI is inevitable. Like, we just have no choice. Like,
technology's always felt like that, hasn't it? Like, even weapons development, things like that. As soon as we could figure out how to do it, we're going to do it. We can't stop it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true.
So.
Yeah. It does feel that way, though. Like if man can invent it, Woman can't prevent it. I'm sorry, Jennifer. Let's take a break.
That's okay. I will be the lone female voice of reason.
That's what I'm saying. That's boys and their toys. That's all I'm saying.
Actually, along those lines, Leo, I think a better analog here would be guns, because like guns are readily available, easy to make, but around the world, around the rest of the world, it's harder to buy than it is in America.
Right. Yeah. Let's take a little break. Jennifer Patterson-Tui, senior reviewer for The Verge. We're going to talk home automation, something a little safer. You cannot hurt yourself with in just a little bit. Well, maybe you can. We'll find out.
Don't make any promises, Leo.
Daniel Rubino, from the editor-in-chief from Windows Central. Great to have you. And, of course, Dan Patterson of Blackbird.ai. Our show today brought to you by Box. This is really, talking about AI, this is a really interesting technology. If you're an enterprise trying to transform your organization with AI, you are probably facing a very common challenge. Most AI tools are great at public knowledge, right? When can I get tickets to see Taylor Swift? But they don't know your business. Well, unless you're selling tickets to Taylor Swift. But if you're not, they don't actually know your business. They don't know your product roadmaps. They don't know your sales materials. They don't know your HR policies or financial models. They don't know about the stuff that actually makes your company run. But AI could be so much better if it did, right? That's where Box comes in. Box is building the intelligent content management platform for the AI era. Box serves as a secure, essential context layer for Box's AI agents to access the unique institutional knowledge that makes your company run. And that's the key idea, and I love it. It's so brilliant. The power of AI isn't the model. It doesn't come from the model. It comes from giving the brain access to the right content, your content. Box's recent State of the AI in the Enterprise report found that 96% of organizations, almost all of them, say agents need access to company-specific content. But even though they know that, only 36% have connected agents to trusted content across many use cases. Box goes beyond file storage. It's not that. It's connecting your content to the people, apps, and AI agents so that your teams can turn information into action. And they're doing it with great tools: Box Agent, Box Extract, Box Hubs, and more. Organizations can use Box to accelerate knowledge work, pull intelligence from unstructured content to automate workflows. I'll kind of explain what some of these do. Box Agent, for instance, is a unified AI experience across all your files. It can understand your natural language prompts. It can pull the right content and help you work through the tasks. For agents both inside and outside Box, that includes tools like all the frontier models: ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Agentforce, even custom agents. Box becomes the trusted content and file layer via its platform APIs, MCP, and CLI. So it has complete interfaces that your agents can use. And for enterprises, that trust layer is so important. Box is built with security, compliance, governance, and threat protection in mind, so that only employees and agents can access the information, and they can only access the information they're exactly authorized to use. You keep control. Now, if you're thinking seriously about your company's AI transformation journey, I want you to think beyond the model. It's not just the brain, because your business lives in your content. Box helps bring that content securely into the AI era. This is perfectly timed. Visit box.com/AI to learn more. That's box.com/AI. We thank him so much for supporting This Week in Tech. Box.com/AI. Okay, we're going to move on from AI. Enough AI. Let's talk about the smart home. Now, I have to say, my little AI buddy, Quicksilver, is connected to my Home Assistant Green server, and I can tell it to open shades, turn on the lights. I can have it, when I get home, do things. It's very nice to have an AI connected to your home.
Yeah. And actually, to your point earlier about the different use cases here, as this is so true with technology, it's not that AI bad, it's that some elements of AI could have concern, but some elements of AI have great use cases. And actually the smart home is one of them, where I think we're already seeing some really interesting innovations that help run your smart home, because it's the key one is cutting through complexity, because the smart home is complicated. What you just said is not a sentence that most normal people would understand in terms of running on my HA green, and it's.
Well, you did though, right? You speak Home Assistant.
I do speak Home Assistant, yes. And I used Claude to help me code my Home Assistant instance, and that was super helpful, incredibly helpful. Yes, because it actually
might be the missing link, because all this time we've had this Home Assistant. It's like the Tower of Babel. Nobody can talk to it. It doesn't. One thing doesn't talk to another. Maybe AI is the solution, or maybe Matter is the solution. Matter,
yes. I love that segue. Thank you, Leah.
Well, I will say this. I've been lobbying. Everything I use should have an AI interface. We were just talking about Box, how it has MCP servers and SDKs and CLI. As Home Assistant has an interface that an agent can use and understand. Everything should have that. Maybe Matter is that layer. I don't know. There's a big Matter conference going on.
So a week ago, I was at this conference. It's called Unify. And actually, to our previous conversation about how maybe technology companies need to work together to figure out this, how to control and responsibly deploy AI in the world. Matter is actually a great example of how competitors are coming together and working together to make a better solution. There is no risk of, the end of the world through home automation, but it's definitely been interesting to watch. And this was what this conference
That's because home automation isn't as powerful as it ought to be. No. It should be good enough to end the world if necessary.
But it is a good example of like a technology that has so much value, but has been so hard for people to use because of competing standards, competing protocols, confusion, complicated setups, having to have little boxes running AI in your house to get anything to work. And Matter is a newish interoperability standard that's basically designed to make all of your smart home devices work with each other rather than being in like siloed ecosystems or walled gardens. And what this conference was put on by the Connectivity Standards Alliance, who runs Matter and Zigbee and Aliro and a few other open standards. But the companies...
By the way, there's the problem right there. There wasn't enough just to have one. We had to make more.
So you hear this all the time, and it's not so. It's a misnomer, but I get the joke. Like it's the XKCD comic. Am I saying that right? Sorry.
Yep. XKCD. Yes,
the comic, standards. There's 14 standards and none of them work with each other. We need one standard to make them all work together, protocol to let them all work together. And then that protocol comes along and now, yay, we have 15 protocols.
So we've been talking about Matter for, it feels like years. How many? A couple of years now.
So it launched 4 years ago.
4 years.
3 and 6 months. But it had been announced in 2018 by Apple, Google, Amazon, and then quite quickly after Samsung. So all of these companies have been working together on this. They all had their own walled gardens, didn't standard. They? Yes.
They all had their own standards.
And everyone used different protocols, different ways of connecting devices, different radios, different hubs. It was confusing. It was complicated. It has Matter launched, but it has had a bumpy road. And what this conference was all about was really sort of bringing everyone together. I mean, they all talk with each other. Apparently, this is what they say. They have these meetings, but 3 or 4 times a year where all the companies come together. But this was their first public-facing event where they were like, look at what we've achieved. Here's where Matter is. Now, it's still not where they promised it would be day one, which was you just buy a smart home device, you plug it in, set it up, and it will just work with any smart home platform you want. We're not there yet. But what I saw at this conference was really quite inspiring, not to be too sort of twee, but that these companies actually have been working really hard to make this standard better and to fix the problems that we've seen. And most of those problems are that just it's still complicated and it's still confusing. But what came out of this is the launch of Matter 1.6. So we're getting, and standards, you guys, you've been in this industry for a long time. Standards are very hard. It's not easy to move an industry. It's not easy to get rivals to agree on anything. It's not easy to get them to implement something that could potentially mean that their product and their service could be superseded by their competitors. But I think that what has transpired over the last few years is that it's really clear that the smart home is at an impasse because of how complicated it is. And sorry to bring this back to AI, but AI coming to the smart home has suddenly opened the monetization strategy for these companies, which wasn't there before. But we are now, we heard about Amazon losing billions on its Echo smart home division over the years. And Apple has been very slow in this space. Google has also had kind of a bumpy ride with its Nest and Google Home speaker division. They just launched their newest speaker, which is all focused on Gemini AI.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's built for, so Gemini for the home is their AI model for home automation and the smart home. And AI, what does AI need? What does AI need more than anything else? It needs good data. And what are you going to get good data with? Well, interoperability. If everything can talk to everything else, then you can use and build a more reliable smart home system that's potentially going to start doing the sort of the holy grail of the smart home, which is being able to actually manage your home for you. So you're not the one with the Raspberry Pi on the shelf trying to fiddle and all the different apps and trying to, Home Assistant's very great and powerful, but you can spend a whole month, diving into it. So
I still haven't connected everything to it. I've had it for a couple of years now.
So, and the idea, and so one of the other things that the Matter 1.6 came up with this, which should have been there at the beginning, something called joint fabric. And basically what this means is when you buy a device from a smart home company and you add it to your smart home platform of choice, say Apple Home or Amazon Alexa, prior, each ecosystem would set up their own network in your home called Fabric. So you'd have your Apple Home Fabric and you'd have your Amazon A Fabric. Now with joint fabric, you're just going to have your own smart home network that every ecosystem you would like to control it. So if you want 2 or 3, because say you use a Google Pixel and your spouse uses an iPhone, they will now talk to that fabric, but they won't own that fabric. And that sounds like a sort of small change, but it's a significant shift for the standard because it means that these companies have all agreed to give up control. So they don't own the fabric.
Have they really, though?
Well, this is the... So everyone says they are on board with this, but the other problem with standards is you get a new spec, and then when does the spec actually appear in the product? So this is wait and see. But it was an exciting sort of. There was a lot of momentum, I guess. That was what I saw at this conference. I was talking to the engineers, I was talking to the people developing this, rather than the PR and the management people, but. If engineers rule the world, this will work.
Yes.
But that's a big if.
That's right, because engineers want it to work. They're the ones using it.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway for a consumer? Should you not buy anything that isn't Matter certified at this point?
So it's a hard one to say because there are not enough Matter certified devices, I would say, to be able to do that at this stage. But yes, if you're looking at a device if you're looking at buying smart home devices, I would highly recommend exploring the Matter versions over
all other things being
non-Matter.
equal. Look for the one that has Matter on. Because,
and this is the point of my next story that I wanted to touch on. One of the great things about Matter is it is a local protocol, or it's a local standard, and it uses local connectivity protocols, so Thread and Wi-Fi. And if you buy a cloud-dependent device, and that company goes out of business, your cloud-dependent device no longer works. And we have seen
like
this
the level lock?
and time again. Well, yes. So the level lock, to be clear, the level lock has not gone out of business, but it has had a significant restructuring, which causes some concern about the long-term business model of the company. And also Level Lock they recently did an upgrade to Matter. So if you have a Level Lock that has a Matter upgrade, if in the future something happened to Level servers, your device would still work. And this is where Matter becomes a very important. Excuse me.
It's okay. It's okay.
This is where Matter becomes a key part of the smart home experience, is that it is local and you control it. If your company goes out of business,
if you weren't watching the video, Jennifer's son just walked through and unplugged the router, it looks like.
I just froze. Sorry about that.
And she froze in horror.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite like the BBC presenter whose kids rolled in, but it was a moment.
So the Level Lock so Level.
You shouldn't freak out. Did Assa Abloy buy them, or was it their product to begin with?
So Assa Abloy bought them. Level Lock was actually made by a couple of Apple engineers originally.
It was a startup. Okay.
Yeah, startup. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a really cool piece of technology. If you've ever seen a smart lock, or if you've used a smart lock, they're normally big, kind of techie looking, giant batteries on the back of your door. They're a little cumbersome. Smart locks are great in general. Like, I love them as a concept. They're really good, but they don't
clunky.
look
they are
great.
Clunky. Yeah,
the Level Lock puts all the technology in the battery goes in the little deadbolt there, and all of the smarts are built into the deadbolt mechanism.
So it looks like a totally normal deadbolt lock.
Completely normal lock.
Cool.
It's such a neat
I'm glad
concept.
I didn't know about it, or I would have bought it.
It's very expensive. That's the other downside.
Okay.
Like $350 for that lock that we were looking at there. So there was a startup similar to like August, the August lock you might be familiar with.
Yep.
And both of those companies were bought by Assa Abloy at different times in their process. If you're familiar with Assa Abloy, it's one of the largest multinational access control companies on the planet. Like, they own.
They were famous for their excellent deadbolts, though, right? They're not a cheesy company.
No. I mean, it's a very well-established Swedish company.
Yeah.
And so they also bought Yale and they bought August. And then they wanted to buy Kwikset, which is the other large lock maker. And the government said, that's too many locks. And so then they sold their stake in Yale and August, and then bought Level. So this company's been kind of on a lock buying spree. But what happened this last week, sadly, is they basically laid off the majority of the staff at Level.
Oh, that's too
and so the concern amongst the staff and for customers of the lock is that without an engineering team there anymore, this is a very technical, very technically advanced lock, and will the lock continue to be made? Hopefully it'll continue to be supported, but there is a concern that it may just go away, which would be very sad because it's a great piece of technology. And they were working on an ultra wideband version, and I think I've talked about this on the show before, but this is the next innovation that's coming to smart locks, is complete hands-free unlocking. So using UWB radios, that your phone will transmit to your lock as you walk up that you've come home, and it will unlock the door for you automatically.
I love this, by the way. I don't have one because I bought a Schlage just before they came out, but
so Schlage just launched its newest UWB lock. I'm sorry,
but I love that idea that you just walk up to the door and it's unlocked. I mean, my car's like that. It's a really nice.
It's the same technology, same technology.
Right.
So
and it knows if you're coming or going, like if you're walking towards it or walking away, so it doesn't unlock as you're walking away. I mean, just really kind of cool.
It's a great technology, and it's much better than the current. So if you have a smart lock, you may already have this experience.
Tap it.
And there's some like Bluetooth GPS sort of magic that some use, but that's not very reliable because you're using a number of different radios, and there can obviously be a number of failure points, whereas this is a local direct radio to phone technology. And really, I've tried it and I've been very impressed with it. I have the new Schlage lock actually somewhere right here that I'm going to be testing hopefully this weekend.
Test it on your teenage boy.
Yeah. I think I've talked about how he's never used a key. I don't know how he's going to do in college.
I don't carry keys anymore. The only thing I carry a key for is my post office box, because of course the U.S. Postal Service,
they're never going away.
Never stop using keys. But I used to have a key ring. I don't have a key ring anymore. It's just a weird experience. But I'm going to make a bet here. We got two other high-tech guys on the show. Daniel, do you have a smart lock?
Locks?
Yeah. Do you have one, Daniel, a smart lock?
Yeah, I have a Eufy. Yeah.
He has a Eufy. Okay. How about you, Dan? Do you have a smart lock?
So I live in Brooklyn, and we have less choice about this.
Yeah, you can't
and right, there's a number of security concerns with that. However, the apartment complex I live in, yes, we have a smart lock. We have that option, but I think almost everyone opts to use a key, and for my apartment, I use a key. However, excuse me. Were I to not live here, I almost certainly would have a smart lock.
Sure. All right. Well, then I take it back.
They make life. It's like the video doorbell. It's one of those things that a lot of people
everybody
use.
gets. Yeah.
But I should just mention on the Assa Abloy level thing. Assa Abloy has said level lock is staying in business and no worries. Don't be concerned. Don't look behind the curtain. The fact that there's no one left at the company. Okay. So we'll see what happens. But it was a really great piece of tech. And I really do hope that the innovations that Level developed and brought to the market will continue, because I, for one, do not like ugly, big smart locks. I want sleek, nice looking smart locks that don't look like a smart lock, but still will automatically open my door for me as I approach.
Well, with any luck, they'll fold it into Quickset, and it will be in every hardware store, and it'll be everywhere, and it'll be lower cost. And that technology, I mean, they must have bought it because they liked the technology.
You hope. I mean, one of the concerns is that Assa Abloy's been having its North American residential sales had taken a big dive because no one's spending any money in this country anymore, it seems. No one's buying houses because the interest rates are still so high. Right. So, I think they're having some financial problems. So that could have been related to why this had happened. But they haven't. We don't know for sure. So it's all speculation at this point. But fingers crossed the technology continues. But it is really sad that the startups basically all 80 employees and the founders were laid off. So we will see what happens in the future here and watch this space. But they did the same to some extent to August. I mean, I think most of your listeners and viewers will be familiar with the August smart lock, which was one of the early smart home sort of babies, darlings. Yep. And that was bought by Assa Abloy. And there hasn't been a new August lock in 6-7 years. I don't think we're going to ever see another August lock.
It's not the first company. There have been quite a few companies, former Apple engineers. That seems to be a common thing. The Apple engineer, gets some design skills, some engineering skills, and then starts their own company. Tony Fadell, very famously, was one of the designers on the iPhone who went off to start Nest. You have, speaking of Nest, have a very good podcast. That you are part of.
If anyone's not gotten bored to tears by my smart home chats, there's lots more where this came from. We have a new podcast at The Verge called Version History. Well, that we're in our 4th season, but this season is all smart home, and we have a episode that went out today all about the history of the Nest thermostat.
Oh, what a great story!
It's a very fun story. A lot of you probably would be surprised by a lot of the background there. And then we also last week we did the Roomba, which was a fun one. And then we've got Philips Hue light bulbs coming up, and of course the clapper. Everyone's favorite.
The original home automation device.
And we did the
on,
Logitech Harmony a couple of weeks ago too, which I think
another good one.
Yeah, so lots of fun stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna have to listen to this.
If you want some more smart home lore, please.
Can I ask you an inside baseball question?
Sure.
So Vox is being split up into little tiny pieces. The Vox podcast company got sold, but The Verge got. It's very confusing.
It's
The Verge,
confusing.
I like your new owner, by the way. I think The Verge is owned by Penske now. Are they going to keep version history? Who gets version history?
So it's a bit of a misnomer and understandably confusing, but the Vox Media Podcast Network doesn't actually, as far as I understand it, make the podcasts.
Oh.
They are like a platform to help market and advertising.
See, I couldn't understand it because Vergecast without The Verge is cast.
Right. So like I know famously Kara Swisher and her podcast is part of the
hugely
Vox
valuable. Yeah.
But she owns her own podcast as far as I understand it. And but they have like a partnership with Vox Media Podcast Network.
For sales primarily, right?
Primarily sales, I think infrastructure, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So our Vergecast and Version History and Decoder, which is the other podcast from Verge, that is all staying with Verge and no longer part of Vox Media Podcast Network, which is going to a Murdoch. Which one? I can't remember.
Is it Lachlan? I think it's going to Lachlan.
No, I think no. Is it? I think it's the other one.
Yeah, I think it's Lachlan.
It's Lachlan.
Oh,
I
think so.
Yeah, it's not the other one.
I get confused by the Murdoch.
Not
Sorry.
Rupert. Yeah,
Definitely
it's
not
very
Rupert.
confusing. Not Rupert.
But yes, so we're going to Penske, this was just announced last week, a week ago.
Penske, which owns all the Hollywood magazines, plus
and the Golden Globe.
The
so I'm
Rolling
like,
Stone
if I get tickets,
you get tickets to the Golden
Globes.
It's going to be a very exciting time. No,
Jennifer, I have a quick question. What happens to subscriptions? Maybe you don't know, but
I'm a subscriber. I care about that. I subscribe.
Everything, as far as our fearless leader, Nilay, has explained to us, everything will stay exactly the way it is. Like our company is The Verge as a company, which The Verge founded with Vox Media originally. Like it was The Verge, and Verge was like, oh, we need a company. So they created Vox Media.
Right.
And that Verge, which has always been its own business within Vox Media, is just staying its own business with a different owner.
Nilay
so nothing
and
changes.
Josh and everybody were regulars on Twit at the time. And I remember when they started what was it called? My next thing.
This is my next.
This is my next. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember when they left, was it Engadget? I can't even, I think it was
Engadget. Yes.
And they started that, and they've had great success, and I'm really glad. And as a result, we don't get them on the show anymore because they're far too big.
I'm sure Nilay would love to.
I would love to get Nilay on, but all right, I don't even. I act like they're saying no to me. I'm too embarrassed to ask.
I'm sure he would love to come on.
It's like, oh, you're big shot now. Same thing with Kara. Kara used to be on the show all the time. She's too
now
big
you just get me.
I'd rather have you. If you give me the three people on right now, the people who are on the show are the people I want to have on the show. But I do admit that sometimes, people get, big time, and we don't get to have them on anymore. They're just too big for us. This little program. We're glad to have you.
Don't worry about your subscriptions and keep subscribing.
Yes, I will. I love The Verge. We quote The Verge constantly, and especially Jennifer Patterson-Toohey and her smart home coverage. We also quote Windows Central all the time. Daniel Rubino, editor-in-chief there, great Windows coverage, Microsoft coverage, really. And, of course, Dan Patterson of Blackbird AI doing his best to stop the Ruskies in there. So you have to at some point explain the difference between disinformation and misinformation.
Yeah.
What is misinformation is wrong.
It's disinformation is intentionally misleading content or narratives. We call it a narrative because it's not just one deep fake
it's not
or one
the fact,
piece of content.
It's the story around it.
Yeah, right. So, but it is intentional. Misinformation could be like, well, my neighbor said it's going to rain tomorrow, and everybody's saying it's going to rain tomorrow. Right, gossip. Or, one great example, we've been spending a lot of time looking at the World Cup because at least in Brooklyn, everybody's looking at the world. Like, it's huge. It's fantastic. It's a great event. But there have been some narratives around, let's say, empty stadiums, right?
Right.
Nobody's going to these games,
That's
which is
not
ridiculous.
true, is it?
It's not true at all. In
They're
fact,
all sold out.
Right.
Oh my God.
Tickets.
I would like to complain vociferously about the World Cup. Can I do that now?
England won. What are you worried about? They're going on.
So I dropped this in the notes right down the bottom. I tweeted this. I was like, yay, England won. Yay, they're playing in Atlanta. I'm just going to see, because I live in South Carolina.
It's just up the road a piece.
Maybe I could go watch.
Yeah. England, Congo.
$10,000 for 2 tickets.
Well, that wasn't
Who
the
is
face
responsible
value.
for that? I'm sorry, but $500 for a ticket was ridiculous.
Yeah.
$10,000 is insane.
Jason Snell went to a game. He went to like the dumb game or whatever. He said a game nobody wanted. It was still $500. But you're looking at the real resale price. But that's yeah.
Why? And this, who do I? But no, this is all through like the formal channels. Like this country is the only one in the world that does this. And is it technology's fault? Who do we blame? I know we blame Ticketmaster, but is it because of tech? I feel like this.
So here's what happens. It is scalpers, by the way.
Yeah.
Somebody buys it at face value and then goes to the same site. Sometimes they go to a third-party site and says, yeah, I'm not going to make it. So sell it for me. But by the way, it's going to be $4,000 more than I paid for it. I think that's still scalping, isn't it? Maybe their aunt got sick and they can't go. Maybe.
Why are there no laws against this? I went to a Taylor Swift concert in London and I paid £60.
Yeah. I should point out that Taylor hates the whole thing too.
I know.
And let me point out
ridiculous.
On your Blue Sky post, the price is $9,000. Mm-hmm. There is then a $1,350 fee on top of it.
I know. It's insane. Why? Why?
The answer is we don't enforce antitrust here is the answer.
Yeah,
we need regulation here because this is ridiculous. Is someone actually gonna pay that much for a ticket?
I bet it was an eye opener for a lot of people who come to this country to see their country play in the World Cup, and then not only do they have to pay that for tickets, but they have to tip the waiter. This is insane. How does this country survive? Anyway.
Have you seen the memes online? It's been wonderful. Like,
it is really fun. The Scots.
How much, but yeah, and people sort of discovering that America is actually really cool.
That guy who's been flying around, who I can't remember his name.
Something or other.
Yeah, it's wonderful. He's like, his eyes wide open. Wow.
And I love it. Every 4 years this happens, but normally not in America. The whole world comes together.
I agree.
And it's just a great example of how we really can all come together.
Yeah.
There's something, it's not the people that are the problem. Perhaps it's the politicians that are the problem. I don't know. But as a global society, we exist in
the people
harmony.
Are fine.
And the World Cup is a great example.
Fine.
And now that America's finally woken up,
yeah.
America's finally paying attention because you finally are
Every
doing
4
okay.
years. Yeah.
Only because, may I point out, you have an English striker.
Oh, yeah.
Who is only playing with you because of birthright citizenship. So do you know that story? It's fantastic.
So he's English. His parents were English.
Uh-huh.
But they were living in the United States when he was born.
No.
No.
His mother is Ghanaian, I believe, or Nigerian, and she was visiting family or friends in New York, and she tried to get on the plane to go home to England, where she lived. So she's Nigerian but lives in England, and this is something that does happen. If you're too pregnant, they won't let you get on the plane.
Sure, they don't want
you to go in labor on the flight.
The ocean,
so she had to stay in Brooklyn a bit longer. And so she had her baby before she went back home. So he was born in New York, went back home with her when they let her fly back, grew up in England, went through all the English soccer training, football training, played for one of the big development teams for, I don't know if it was Arsenal. My football lore is a little fuzzy because I'm living here now. But yeah, he played for the England under 21s. He was a big star. And then he could also have played for I think it's Nigeria that his family is from, one of the African countries. And then he was going to play for England, because why wouldn't you play for England? We're the best soccer nation in the world, football nation.
I'll be rooting for the Democratic Republic of the Congo in that match.
But apparently, the American fans got like in his DMs and on social media and were like, "We want you, we want you," and he was like, "Okay," and he decided to
wear
go
a stripy
play for
shirt.
America.
Yay.
And now you finally have a good soccer team, so you're welcome.
By the way, if you are born on a flight, birthright citizenship to American Airlines? What is your...
I think it depends where the plane is when you were born.
Did they still do the thing?
There was one...
Did they still do the thing where if you're born on a plane, you get free flights on that airline forever?
I doubt it. Very, very.
That's probably why they don't let you go on the plane.
That's right.
Very heavily pregnant.
My favorite response to your Blue Sky skeet about the ticket prices is Wonkish, who said, "Matter fixes this." So
he knew me.
He knew.
He knows my thing.
He knows. He knows. It's all going to be fixed by Matter. All right. Well,
sorry for the diversion there.
Oh, it's a good diversion. No. And I don't know though if I'll be rooting for England. I might be rooting for Congo.
Dr.
They've
Congo,
had such a rough time lately. This is something that gives them hope.
I hate to say it, and I shouldn't, because it'll just wish it into existence. But this is exactly the type of game that we're going to lose. I mean, you just know it. The underdog. I know. I shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry.
Don't put that out in the space. We'll have more with our fabulous panel in just a bit. I have to say, I was watching the F1 last week. Or no, I guess it was the qualifiers this week. And there were Norwegian fans doing the row in the F1 stands, which cracked me up. So that's my favorite new move. They row in unison in the stands. That beats the wave by a lot. I just love that.
Everything beats the vuvuzelas from 5 World Cups ago. Do you remember those?
I happen to have.
Those were terrible. America needs to come up with something, though, signature.
South African World Cup.
You have one?
I hate to do this to you, but brought me back.
No.
All right, we'll have more of...
Oh, my ears.
We'll have more of This Week in Tech. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. But, I don't get to play the Vuvuzela very often, so when I get a chance. It's like Beetlejuice. You mentioned it. Now it has to happen. Our show today brought to you by Meter, the company building better networks, company founded by 2 network engineers who feel your pain. If you're a network engineer, you have my deepest sympathies. You know all the problems and legacy providers with inflexible pricing. Everybody's got this IT resource constraints stretching you thin. Then you've got these complicated deployments across fragmented tools. You're mission critical to the business, but you're working with infrastructure that just wasn't built for today's demands. That's why you need to know about Meter. That's why businesses love Meter, because Meter was designed to solve your problems. Meter delivers full stack networking infrastructure, and that's wired, wireless, and cellular, that's built for performance and scalability. These guys realized, you know what? If we're going to make this work, we've got to own the whole stack. We've got to design the hardware, write the firmware. We've got to build the software. We've got to manage the deployments, provide after-sales support. Meter does everything. They'll even do ISP procurement. They'll help you with security, routing, switching, wireless, firewall. They can do cellular. Yes, power. That's really important, right? DNS security, VPNs. They'll help you with SD-WANs. They'll help you with multi-site workflows, all in a single solution. I was talking to them. They said, we love it when the company comes to us. It happens so often. They acquire another company. They acquire that other company's giant 400,000 square foot warehouse, which has very spotty wireless in there. And then they have to get it into so that it can connect to the home office. It's a nightmare, but Meter can come in and solve it. Meter's single integrated networking stack scales. It is in some of the most hostile major hospitals. If you ever try to use Wi-Fi in the hospital, that is a challenging environment. It works in branch offices and warehouses, large campuses, even data centers. Reddit uses Meter. Ask the assistant director of technology for the Web School of Knoxville. He said, we had more than 20 games. This is a direct quote. We had more than 20 games on campus. It's between our 2 facilities. Each game was streamed via wired and wireless connections, every one of them. And the event went off without a hitch. We could never have done this before Meter redesigned our network. With Meter, You get a single, this is why this owning the stack makes such a difference. You get a single partner, one phone number to call for all your connectivity needs, from first site survey to ongoing support, without the complexity of managing multiple providers, juggling tools. Meter's integrated networking stack is designed to take the burden off your IT team and give you deep control and visibility, reimagining what it means for businesses to get and stay online. Meter's built for the bandwidth demands of today and tomorrow. We thank them so much for supporting Twit, and we invite you to go to meter.com/twit and book a demo now. meter.com/twit to book a demo. So here's some interesting news about Elon Musk's brand new, very successful on the stock market anyway, company Starlink. SpaceX plans to launch Starlink mobile service in the United States. Would you buy a Starlink-based cell phone? I don't think it would be just satellite. Obviously, it couldn't be, because if you're inside, it wouldn't work. So they'd also have to have terrestrial. I think they'd have to have terrestrial wireless as well. Gwen Shotwell told investors during a recent IPO roadshow the group was considering launching a Starlink retail product and could build its own terrestrial U.S. mobile network. The move would require Starlink, this is from Ars Technica, to build a new retail offering by selling mobile contracts to individual customers. Now, I use Starlink. It's my backup internet for these shows. And I think Starlink's great. It's not cheap. I don't know if it would be better cell service or not. Analysts caution. Go ahead.
Wasn't he also supposed to be doing his own phone at some point? It was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if it would be tied to that.
Yeah.
But it seems an odd move to launch a smartphone, unless it's like an Android-based phone, of course. But if it's not, I don't know how
I think
that would
the
work.
analysts say the biggest sticking point is going to be terrestrial radio, because you can't just, like in here, I can't see the sky. I couldn't use a sat phone. So this will be interesting. Of course, remember, a lot of what Elon has been saying is just to, become a trillionaire, to get a good stock price, which it worked.
Won't iPhone customers become satellite and Starlink customers at some point?
Well, sort of. So right now, most modern iPhones can get satellite connectivity if they lose cellular connectivity through Globalstar. But Globalstar right? But Globalstar just got sold, and Apple's stock, its stake in Globalstar went along with it. So there has been some noise that maybe they'll switch to Starlink. I don't know.
And what does T-Mobile use? Because you can add satellite service.
It uses Globalstar right now. I'm using Globalstar right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Globalstar was bought by, who bought them? I forgot. No, boy. It's funny.
Wasn't that long ago, was it?
Amazon. That's right. So Amazon, I don't know. I have a feeling that Apple's not going to do an Amazon deal. So and since they lost their 20% stake in it. So yeah, it makes sense. I've heard rumors that they were going to use Starlink for the future. But that doesn't replace your cell service. We're talking about full cell service from Starlink, which presumably you could use on any phone if it's like a regular cell service. Let's talk about Winders, because Benito wins his bet. He said, "Oh no, I'm going to hang on. I'm playing chicken. I'm going to hold on to my Windows 10." Microsoft had said last November, "Okay, one more year." Actually, it was October, wasn't it? October 14th, 2025, when they ended support for Windows 10. You better explain this to me, Daniel. So are they extending it another year?
They are. And part of it, honestly, is the RAM stuff again. As it
might be different if you could buy a new computer with Windows 11 on it, I guess. Right?
Yeah. I mean, part of the, I guess you could say, problem with Windows 11 is that there are hardware requirements with it based around security. And so a lot of companies would need to buy new laptops or desktops that meet the security standards. And this, of course, has angered people, but you can't have both ways, because if they don't have this security built in and people upgrade and all this kind of stuff and they get attacked, it's a whole issue. So, but obviously buying laptops now and PCs has become very cost prohibitive.
Right.
And so they're extending it by another year. Although I don't know how much that just gives companies an extra year to save money, I guess, to buy new computers, because we don't expect those prices to necessarily drop. But that seems to be a part of this. As well as, they are involved in the K2 project right now, which is this effort to address a lot of concerns and complaints that people have with Windows 11.
So what do I need to do if like Benito, I'm still running Windows 10, come October, what do I need to do? Do I have to do anything to keep it alive? Am I just going to get updates without doing anything?
Yeah, actually, I'm not too sure about that. Previously, you had to just register and just make.
Yeah, you had to pay for it with Bing points.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah.
Or had to use OneDrive. There were some weird little things. I'm looking at your article, not your article, but I'm looking at the article on Windows Central Insider by Kevin Okemwa, who says all you have to do is be signed in with a Microsoft account.
Yeah, so it looks like it's just a basic extension without any loopholes to jump through, which is good, because Microsoft gets a lot of flack for that, obviously.
Yeah. We knew that they had technical requirements, but we also knew you didn't have to have TPM2, for instance.
No, you could bypass it. There were definitely, it's Windows at the end of the day. There's always going to be a workaround some way.
Right. Well, good news. If you're a Windows 10 user, the clock keeps on ticking, I guess.
This is where Apple differs from Microsoft, right? Because Apple could just snap their fingers and make everybody jump. Microsoft tries to do it and everybody loses their mind. So it's
Apple
it's
makes its money in hardware, and so they can give you a free operating system because you bought their computer to do it. Microsoft, you didn't necessarily buy a computer from Microsoft to be using Windows. In fact, most people don't.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about Mythos. Microsoft has its own model, M-, and I guess it was this month's Patch Tuesday had the largest number of fixes ever. Microsoft said at least 10 of them were generated by M-, its own security model. And I would suspect that Mythos, which it also had access to, had some of those patches also could be attributed to it. That's a huge, more than 200 fixes.
That is probably one of the more interesting aspects of AI in terms of software, right? Is this ability to find weaknesses in systems, find bugs, and actually do advanced work. And I think but conversely, of course, it could be just as dangerous if it's in the wrong hands, because it can also be used to probe networks.
Finding the bugs is the first step to exploiting the bugs.
Right.
That's the risk, right? And that was what people were complaining about with Mythos, is it would find the bug, patch the bug, and then write a proof of concept to test the patch. But any proof of concept that tests to see if the bug is still there can also be used to exploit the bug. It's you're getting the code for exploitation. And the fact that it could do that in a single prompt reasonably is a little bit scary. I don't think Anthropic overhyped that. I think it really is dangerous. But on the other hand, if you can do it with other tools now existent,
right,
what's the point in stopping it? There's going to be a big update. We were talking about this on Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott on Wednesday, coming July 14th. Huge number of updates coming to Windows 11, so you might want to upgrade. Is this to celebrate America's 250th?
No, it's not. But this is part of that K2 project I was talking about with, introducing features, the ability to move the taskbar, right?
Whoa, wait a minute, what?
It seems trivial. And, I think only 1% of users probably do this.
Yeah,
but
Microsoft took that feature out in Windows 11.
So they didn't really take it out. It's a little more complicated than that. They rewrote the taskbar for Windows 11. It uses a different technology now. It's written differently. And so they recreated it. And so to the end user, it feels like the same start system almost from Windows 10.
Yeah.
But they completely rewrote it, and they didn't write into that the feature to move it, because very few people actually do move it. Most people do keep it on the bottom. Probably less than 1% actually want to move it to the sides or the top.
But those 1% are loud.
They're very loud. And, you can make a good argument that, okay, they didn't have it on launch, but, maybe they'll do it later. But they never said they were going to do it at all. And they were sticking to their guns for a long time. But now new team is in place, and they're addressing and, delivering a lot of fixes and improvements. For instance, you'll be able to pause Windows updates basically indefinitely.
What? Yay.
Yeah, so that's been another thing that people have, talked about, because it is annoying to get that pop-up saying you need to restart your computer now, because there's never a good time for it, right? But people will be able to pause it now. There's also the point of time restore. Basically, this is almost like an older system where it does a snapshot, and so if something goes wrong with your system, you can roll it back to the previous version.
We used to have that. Didn't we?
Yeah.
System restore.
Yep.
They need to take some tips from the smart home here, because now when you get a smart home device, when you set it up, it says, would you like to have automatic updates? And you say yes, because you do. It's slightly different with the smart home than your computer.
You do. You absolutely do.
You absolutely do. And then it'll do it, and then it sets the update time, and it'll say, okay, I will update between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. whenever this happens.
Oh, you could do that in Windows.
I know you can kind of do that, but
yeah, I don't think most people go ahead and do it. Yeah,
it's always at the wrong time. Like, it pops up at the wrong time. Do you want me to do it tonight? Well, I do, but then I'll. But yes, just stop. Just don't tell me, and just do it.
Just do it.
Just
don't
do
ask. Just do it. Do it when I'm not using the computer.
And speaking of, and it's also the AI models, like the ChatGPT and the Claude desktop apps, constantly wants to update
every day. It seems like, yeah. You know why?
For those curious, we have hands-on Windows. We have a hands-on Windows episode to show you how to do all of this if you want to do it yourself.
And also all the new features, I believe, if they haven't done it already, that's coming. That actually is going to be the new normal, because AI is so fast. And the reason these AI is updated every day is because they're using AI to develop it. And as more and more software is developed by AI and maintained by AI, the updates are going to come fast and furious. Sorry.
And I can't get away from AI.
AI is with us. Well, you could try. There is a huge backlash now against these flock cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Every community has people saying, no flock cameras. I understand why the police want them. I think it all started with red light cameras, where people were running red lights, so they'd have a camera take pictures after the red light came on, and people went through it, and it stopped that. But then they thought, well, what we could do is put these automated license plate readers in, and we could catch all kinds of malefactors. Well, the problem is these databases are getting bigger and bigger, and it's essentially a way of tracking. And now there's new companies coming along that can be attached to your flock camera, which the flock camera is an automated license plate reader. It just keeps track of all the license plates going by. You're using public thoroughfares. I guess that's part of the deal. But now they're also putting Bluetooth sensors on there so that they can capture, as you drive by, they capture your phone's name, your car's name. They capture all the Bluetooth, because our Bluetooth devices are always broadcasting their names. They're getting more and more sophisticated. And there's this issue of Flock having a nationwide database of license plates, and of law enforcement from time to time using it to stalk people, to track people down who've broken a law in their state as they go to other states. So there's a big backlash. There's a big backlash against Ring cameras too.
Ring cameras, that was. I mean, so Ring had announced a partnership with Flock. And then they had their Super Bowl ad, which caused an awful lot of constignation, which was advertising.
It was just to find little lost doggies.
Their pet finding feature, which actually showed this still image of homes with sort of radar like searching rings coming out from Ring cameras, and that one shot just said surveillance state, and they just flashed it in front of everyone.
If you can find Fluffy, you can also find me, right?
Yeah.
And then like an email leak that basically said that was their next step was.
So
I feel like that was,
Jamie Siminoff has always said that his goal with Ring, pretty much since its inception, is to prevent crime as much as possible, create safer neighborhoods and he is passionate about this, and he really does feel like the more cameras equal more security. There are lots of evidence that more cameras does not necessarily equal more security, but does equal more surveillance, more of people knowing what everyone is doing. And then the biggest concern with this was so before Flock, they had a partnership with they have a partnership with Axon as well, which is the company that does all the body cameras.
Yeah.
But what happened with the Flock issue was because during this so just before the Super Bowl, this was when all the DHS, the deportations were happening. There was all the unrest throughout the country, and the reporting was, and I think it was 404 Media that broke the story, was that the DHS was using Flock cameras, was tapping into Flock cameras to find potential illegal immigrants. And Flock Safety was saying, no, they're not. We only have partnerships with individual jurisdictions, local police. We do not have partnerships with ICE, but ICE could come, and there was actually recent reporting about this where it was shown that ICE did actually access some Flock safety cameras through a local authority. So, ICE comes to your local sheriff's department and says, show me your cameras. Right. They do it.
Here's a subpoena.
Yeah. I don't know that there was even a subpoena. I think it's more like partnerships between police. And so
people aren't stupid. They know if the cameras are there, they will be used. And so whilst Flock and Ring and Axon say, we had no partnerships with federal agencies, that the concern is you have partnerships with the local police and local agencies, and then what about the partnerships that they have, or what are they going to do with the data that they receive? So Flock and to Ring and Flock and Axon, their partnerships were not about these cameras. Their partnerships were more about back-end integrations. But the fear, of course, is, and it comes back to AI, if you can identify something with a camera, you can identify a dog, you can identify a person. And at the same time, Ring launched facial recognition for its cameras. What is the next step? And while Ring may be very clear in all its messaging that we do not access your cameras without your permission, this one feature did allow the cloud to process your camera data to look for this missing pet with your permission. But that tool now exists, and could it be misused in the way that ICE allegedly was misusing the access to cameras like Flock Safety? So you can connect all those dots, even though everyone was saying we're working by the books. It rightly caused a lot of concern. Can I show you what my Ring camera told me earlier today? It says...
Oh, you've got the AI descriptions, have you?
Says, not that one, this one. It says, a cat is walking on the wall. A cat is standing on the wall. A person is walking on the porch. A cat is walking on the porch. A cat is sitting on the wall and looking around. A cat is walking on the porch. A cat is walking on the wall. This is all today.
Yeah.
2 people are bending and moving at the entrance.
It needs AI to sort.
You need to turn on. They do actually have a really good new feature called. Off the top of my head, I've forgotten the exact phrase for it, but it is only urgent alert. So it uses AI to determine whether you actually unusual events is what it's called. So that would get rid of all the cats.
An Amazon delivery person is delivering a package at the entrance. Sometimes it'll say a guy in brown short pants is delivering a package. It's really funny. I love it.
The problem with this stuff
quite useful, this stuff. This is where AI is actually useful in the smart home, but better than motion alert, which is what you got before, right?
Right. Yeah. All it said, it would just go, something's going on out there. So do show this, Benito. You showed this article earlier. Peter Diamandis, who is a former Google guy, he was the founder of X Prize, widely considered a genius, says humans behave better when they're being watched.
I think we all know that. The problem is we've been conditioned for the last 20 years that China is a surveillance state. And when you walk around there, and anyone who's been in China, I've been there before, as soon as you go through security and you check in, like they take your photo and it's just cameras everywhere. And we're told that's bad. They're bad people over there doing that.
If we
and now we're doing it. But it's like, well, it's not the government. It's just private corporations who end up making deals in the back too. And the thing is, the whole history, going back to the Patriot Act, is about private companies colluding with the government behind people's backs and giving them information. And, we didn't know about the subpoenas. And, we just let people, the government tap into people's phones and datas and all this kind of stuff. So there's just no trust here. And sure, these companies may have good intentions, and you can sell fear, but that's what this is. It's selling fear to people. But of course, it can be quickly turned into some of the most draconian systems out there.
Well, it's the panopticon.
I grew up in London, where we are surveilled every minute of the day.
Right. That's right.
But to be fair, and I hate to be the sort of
There's no crime in London, right? It's
well,
all
no,
right
but
now.
I grew up. I grew up during that IRA war, and we had a lot. I mean, that was why we got the mass surveillance in London, was because they were putting bombs in garbage cans, and it was
that's always the reason, though, isn't it?
Yeah, fear is the reason, and that is what we've got. We've got to go back to the love that the World Cup brings. Let's all be happy and kind to each other. But there is the surveillance state is a terrifying concept. We don't want the government watching everything we do, but the fact that cameras and recording devices can help when there are significant concerns or incidences like someone planting bombs, you can track them and you can find them. Things like, it's like all technology. It's how you use it. The technology isn't bad. It's how you use it that is, it's got to be well implemented, and there's got to be a very valid reason. Searching for people in neighborhoods is probably not a valid reason. It's not a dragnet. There shouldn't be technology used to surveil us just in case. But when there are issues, when there's something happening, being able to tap into the technology is a good thing. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't pan out well, but this is what we saw at the same time as the whole ring flock safety case was the Nancy Guthrie case, and the Savannah Guthrie's mother who went missing, and they were able to use doorbell camera footage to try and, to get some idea of what happened.
They never caught the guy, though.
They never caught the guy, no. So it didn't work out, but it was better than nothing at that point. It's a push.
We need
and
more
pull.
cameras. Should have had more.
That's why we need more cameras. Peter Diamandis, I will point out, is a wealthy man and probably can figure out how to hide. But he says in his X post, 1 trillion sensors in space, in the air, on the ground will allow us to know anything, anywhere, at any time. There will be no hiding. Humans behave better when they're being watched. He says it's a good thing. I won't disagree with anything he said there, except that it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. So
again, it comes back to, especially with the flock camera, this is why a lot of jurisdictions and people are kind of fighting back. It's not something people agreed to. Right.
Yeah.
It's something that's, again, happening to people.
Right.
If these things are just going up, towns are deciding to do it, and then it's only after the fact that people are like, wait, where are these things coming from? And it's just covered under that, well, it's security, it's normal stuff that we do with your tax money. But I think, again, that's why there's that pushback, is that people don't feel like, it's like, all right, if we want to have that conversation in our town about putting up cameras everywhere, let's have that discussion. And it's always weird that we live, people are like, oh, we live in a democracy, unless you get the constitutional republic nerds. But we do have democratic mechanisms in this country. And it's like, we can put stuff like this to votes, right? We can do referendums. That's all possible. But we don't have that discussion a lot of times. These things just happen to us.
Yes.
And so that's why I think people, it's a double-edged sword. You can be like, well, but people are safer, but at the same time, you're going to foment this idea of, being against technology and fighting back against this stuff, even though you could make reasonable arguments about having these cameras in certain places. So
there are two themes emerging in this episode, and one is technology top down, and the other is regulation. I mean, everything that you just said, Daniel, is correct, and we could have discussions. We have democratic mechanisms, and we can easily implement regulation that allows technology to flourish while protecting civil liberties. The same thing with artificial intelligence, and the same challenges exist with top-down tech.
But we don't use those mechanisms.
We choose not to deploy those mechanisms.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. Yeah. Very smart panel. Love having you on, Dan Patterson, Blackbird.ai, Jennifer Patterson-Toohey from The Verge.
We're not related.
We're not.
Oh, Pattison. Are you related, though, to that guy from the Hunger Games? No, the vampire guy.
That's Pattinson.
Oh,
he has an N.
So another variant. They all probably came from the same people, though, right? It's the same name.
Probably. I think it's something to do with baking.
He's patting his cake.
Patty cake.
Patty
I don't
cake,
know. I just made that up.
Oh, I think you're right. And he's the son of a baker.
He name at some point.
He's a Needenson. And Daniel Rubino of Windows Central. Great to have all three of you here. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. According to CNBC, nearly half of hiring managers say a candidate's enthusiasm about the job is the most important factor when considering them for a role. I mean, of course, you don't want to hire somebody who doesn't want the job, right? Well, if you need to hire for your business, how can you separate the candidates who are really excited about your opportunity from the ones that are just, ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter has a new feature that quickly lets you see the most interested, qualified candidates first. So you meet the right people faster. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/twit. ZipRecruiter's smart matching technology connects you with qualified candidates instantly. ZipRecruiter's new feature puts the most interested, qualified candidates at the top of your list. In fact, it gives candidates a chance to tell you in their own words why they're interested in your job. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site. This is based on G2. Use ZipRecruiter. Find that enthusiastic talent fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/twit. That's ZipRecruiter.com/twit. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. We thank them so much for supporting this week in tech. I have so many more stories and only a little bit more time. Let's see. I'm going to have to do some story triage here. We didn't mention that Samsung is going to start charging for API access to SmartThings. We should have probably mentioned that earlier. So it was, see, this is what I'm talking about. Your AI needs to have access to that API, but to charge me, I don't know if I want to do that.
People are not happy about this. It is they sort of dressed it up and it's like, we're making vast improvements to our API. It'll be so much better. But yeah, it's $4.99 a month for developers to access the API now. But this SmartThings goes way back in the smart home. It was one of the original smart home hubs, and it's always been a real tinkerer device, like great for setting up. It was all mainly based Z-Wave, Zigbee, used a lot of local radios. And then when SmartThings was bought by Samsung, they slowly kind of transitioned it away. And in fact, the most recent SmartThings hub does not have Z-Wave radio in anymore. But it does support Matter. But Samsung stopped actually making the hardware itself, and it has a third party that makes their hubs now, and Samsung has put radios into all of its TVs and appliances and such. So Thread radios and Matter controller radios are in most of its hardware, and it's moving much more towards AI-driven features, much less sort of focus on Zigbee, Z-Wave, those local protocols. does support Thread. Anyway, for some reason, this API is now going to cost you $5 a month to access. And if you use Home Assistant to connect your SmartThings connected devices, if you have a SmartThings hub that's connected to Z-Wave or Zigbee, that will now cost you $5 a month, which is not going to go down well with that community.
No.
And Paulus Schoutsen from Home Assistant actually messaged me just today, and he was saying they have an estimated of 50,000 SmartThings users that use Home Assistant, and that's over. So he says we always estimate at least 4 times the number of actual users. So it's more like 200,000 people that will be affected by this, individuals that are just running their smart home, not developers. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of very annoyed smart home.
And it doesn't just have to be Samsung products. I mean, one of the points of SmartThings was it would
you could connect
hub for everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So if you've had a hub for many years and you use it to run lots of different devices like Zigbee, Z-Wave, now Thread and Matter, that it will. I predict that this will push a lot of people off of the hub platform, which, to be fair, it might have been their whole purpose behind
maybe
this.
They don't want to. Yeah.
They have been dragging the legacy SmartThings community into very slowly over the decade or so since they. Well, I know, when did they buy SmartThings? SmartThings been around about 15 years, I think. So, and I think they bought it maybe 6 or 7 years ago. So during that time, they've slowly been sort of pushing out the old legacy style of SmartThings and moving it towards their new, it's the platform when you buy a Samsung fridge that you download the SmartThings app. It's completely unrecognizable from what SmartThings was when it first started. And I think it would behoove them in many ways to sort of slowly lose that part of their audience and really just focus on their main smart home goals, which are very AI powered. And it's a huge user base. I mean, SmartThings probably has one of the largest user bases of the smart home platforms to date, because you buy a Samsung appliance, you get the SmartThings app. Which is, much larger chunk of the smart home pie, but those people aren't necessarily doing what people who had a SmartThings hub are doing.
Yeah, it seems like there's 2 categories of smart home users: the ones that want to have it all local, and the ones that want to connect to the cloud. And the advantage of the cloud is that you can keep the hardware on its own network and isolated, which is, for security reasons, a good thing to do. Yeah. If you have a local hub, you have to have it on the same network or local devices, because you have to be able to talk to it. But that's an insecure thing. So I don't know. I like the idea of having an HA Green server here and everything's local, but it's a security issue for me, because I shouldn't really have it on the same network segment as the rest of my stuff. So I don't know. And
most people who are really into the smart home will tell you just want everything local, but you do. And this is, again, just to go back to the Matter point, that's what Matter does. It does make everything, it gives you the potential for everything to be local. Not every platform uses it locally, but the potential is there. You do need the cloud for the smart home. There's a lot of benefit of the cloud. You just do not want to be dependent on the cloud. Right. That's where things can go wrong. And SmartThings now has hubs in all of its hardware, as I mentioned. So your TV, your soundbar, your fridge, a couple of other. So they've got the audio frame thing, like the frame TV, lots of everything that SmartThings, Samsung now manufactures, has hubs in it. Not your washing machine and dryer.
But the TVs do.
The TVs, the soundbars, they are the SmartThings hub. But though SmartThings is very cloud dependent, even though it uses Matter, it's very cloud dependent. Right. So if the SmartThings hub was the original SmartThings hub, which is now in Gen 3 or 4, was the main way you could use SmartThings locally. And now, using your Z-Wave and your Zigbee devices and Thread, now you have that option, but you're going to have to pay $5 a month for it. So I think it will push people away from that hub. And I think ultimately they're going to get out of that space entirely and just want you to be using your fridge as your smart home hub, which just seems silly. But that's the way the smart home, if you're going to move the smart home mainstream, the hub has always felt like a roadblock. People are like, why do I need to buy this little white box that costs $150 and stick it in my house? But when you, for tinkerers and for people that really understand the technology, because the reason you do that is because you own that device and you've got that control over these local devices, local connectivity protocols. So, but for the standard regular Samsung customer who's buying a appliance, and they're like, oh, cool, I can get a notification on my phone that my washing machine is done. I can get a notification on my Samsung TV that my dryer is done or my fridge door was left open. That's all they're like, oh, that's cool. They're not really thinking about the larger sort of implications there.
Okay. I'm sorry I asked. Every time, it's just so frustrating.
It's so complicated and frustrating.
It shouldn't be so complicated. Maybe AI will solve this. I can just talk to my AI and say, you figure it out. We did figure out who was responsible for the Jaguar Land Rover hack. Turns out, Russian hackers. This is the one that the damage is so severe that the Jaguar had to shut down for a month, more than a month. It was so severe that the UK government had to bail out the company with a $2 billion loan, cost the British economy $2.5 billion. Russia's at it again, Dan. What? I tell you. Australia has, of course, passed, and now many other countries are considering passing a ban on social media for under 16s. Studies say it's not working. 4 out of 5, 80% of under 16s in Australia are still using social media.
Shocking, that.
What a shock. This is an observational study by the University of Newcastle. The legislation has resulted in, quote, limited implementation and incomplete compliance and substantial circumvention of social media restrictions. You're just teaching, this is what Harper Reid told us when the law was passed, you're just going to teach these kids to be hackers. Australians going to have the best hackers in the world. Now Norway's going to do the same thing. The UK just announced it, right? Yeah. Then immediately Keir Starmer resigned. I don't think they were related, but the UK is going to implement that later in the year or early next year.
It's just another example, back to our very first topic, of how hard it is to regulate these technologies.
Well, banning YouTube seems like a really dumb thing to do. I can understand maybe Instagram or Facebook, but YouTube? That's like saying you can't watch TV to people under 16, right? That's what they watch.
But TV was very regulated for a very long time.
In the UK, it was.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
I had 3 channels when I was growing up. That was all.
Did your family pay the license fee?
Yeah, you had to. They would come and knock on your door if you didn't. They were very.
They had
scary.
little trucks.
Yeah.
Did you?
But
see
the long wave radio.
BBC.
What you were gonna say?
Is going silent.
Oh, so sad. This makes me sad.
The BBC stopped broadcasting Radio 4 on the 198 kilohertz long wave frequency after a century of transmission. We don't do long wave here in the United States, but in the UK, it did.
Yeah.
Was BBC 4, what was that? Was it music? Was it information?
No, it was information. It was the long wave radio was like part of my childhood. My dad used to just listen to the cricket scores on it all the time, which is it was like lulling me to sleep. It's like my lullaby. But yeah, it was the great thing about it was, it's like smart home protocols. The long wave radio had such reach that you could get BBC Radio 4 anywhere in the world, I think, almost, because
wow.
And wherever you were, you could listen to it, and it was a very powerful tool. In fact, it was used during the French Resistance during World War II. Used long wave radio, used this transmission to help to communicate. It's got such a fascinating history, this radio band, but it's basically fallen foul to technology. And I think the reason they're actually shutting it down is because they can no longer make the tubes no one makes the tubes that keeps the antenna going, something like that.
So it wasn't they wanted to shut it down; they just didn't have a choice.
And it wasn't financially viable to keep running it, and because you couldn't manufacture the tubes that were needed anymore, and no one uses it. Everyone's moved to digital radio or FM is still. I mean, radio in England is still a very.
Did you listen to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on BBC Four?
They used to. I wasn't that old, but I'm not that old. But yes, it was one of the first sort of radio books.
Douglas Adams. People know The Hitchhiker's Guide. They think maybe it was a book or a movie, but it started as a BBC radio play on BBC Four.
I know. Radio 4 is still around.
The war. So but it'll be what, internet, or will they do broadcast?
Radio 4 is a station like BBC Radio
so it's
1,
not
Radio
going
2.
Away.
It's
just the long
wave.
It
was broadcast on the long wave, so you could listen to it anywhere. And it was a special feed, I think. It wasn't the main Radio 4. I could be wrong. But yeah, Radio 4 is all talking,
Internet.
No music. So it was very low bandwidth.
Yeah.
So you could get it anywhere.
I like it.
But it's definitely an end of an era. It was an incredibly important piece of technology for a very long time.
This may not look like an ancient book. It sure doesn't look like an ancient book to me. But that is the Herculaneum scrolls that were ancient scrolls from the Roman library of Herculaneum, carbonized by a volcanic eruption. This is all that was left. But believe it or not, thanks to AI, we've actually been able to read it using high-resolution 3D scans of the scroll. You obviously can't unroll it. It would fall apart. So they X-rayed it, and they've been able to use AI to read I don't know if they got anything good. I don't know if it was a good read, but they've been able to scan it and read it. These are left over from the AD 79 eruption of Mount Vesuvius.
They're trying to keep kids off books back then.
Yeah, they were. That's right. The volcano. Here's a big oopsie. Ford fired a bunch of engineers to replace them with automated systems. Oops, they had to hire them back because the automated systems made so many mistakes. So mistakenly, says Charles Poon, VP of, this sounds like it's made up, VP of Vehicle Hardware Engineering, mistakenly, we thought that just by introducing artificial intelligence and adjusting the design requirements that we had, that would produce a high-quality product.
How do you make that phone call? Like, who drew the short straw to look, you got to call them and hire them back?
I know we fired you, but no, I bet you a lot of those engineers said, yeah, told you so. Ha.
And the people who made that decision probably still have a job, right?
Oh, yeah, they're going to stay. Yeah. Notion had created a Gmail client, but they're going to cancel it because so many people use bots to handle their email that mail wasn't getting through. AI powered Gmail client on Notion Mail will shut down on September 22nd. Notion said, as Notion agents have gotten more capable, we've seen more users hand off email flows to agents. Today, more than half of Notion Mail users manage emails without ever opening their inbox. So I guess you didn't really need us after all. So that we're going to shut it down.
How do you do that? I want to learn that.
Oh, I do. That's what I do. I have my agent read my email for me. If you ever get an email from me that sounds a little mechanical, no, I actually don't have her write my email. That I really wouldn't want to do that. I don't think. Meta, you may remember, was tracking its employees' mouse movements for AI training. Now they've stopped it, not because it was immoral or wrong or bad, but just because they're afraid of data, that the data is going to be exfiltrated. The Model Capability Initiative, which they rolled out in April, captures the mouse movements, clicks, and keystrokes of U.S.-based employees with occasional screenshots, feeds them into the Meta models for training. But Meta realized that sensitive employee data was inadvertently accessible to everyone else, all Meta staff. including private conversations, performance data, and transcriptions. Well, yeah, you harvest everybody's keystrokes, put it in a database. Shocking. Just a reminder, you don't own anything you don't actually physically hold. PlayStation is deleting 551 movies from your account. I never bought any movies in the PlayStation store, but if you bought Rambo First Blood, you know what? You're not going to miss it. Bridget Jones' Diary. Oh, The Deer Hunter. Now, that's a good movie.
How far away are they from removing games, though? And I'm sure they've already done that.
Yeah, as of September 1st, due to our content licensing arrangements, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Studio Canal content, and it will be removed from your video library. So just a reminder, you don't really own anything you buy online.
The best part is you don't get any money back. It's just...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Gone.
Oh, no. And if you look at the license agreement, you never really owned it. It was just there. We're going to take one quick break and then some final words, including a farewell to one of our favorite people who passed away this week. But before we do that, let me tell you about our sponsor, Superhuman Go. A lot of us were promised that AI would make work easier, but somewhere along the way, maybe you've experienced this, it just started to feel like another thing to manage, another tab open, another app to check, another place to copy and paste information just to get a simple answer. That's why more people are turning to Superhuman Go. Superhuman Go is an AI chat that's always there when you need it, already aware of what you're doing. You don't have to start from zero. Instead of forcing people into another app or another workflow, it works where you already work. Go's AI chat sits on the side of the browser and is always ready to help draft emails and messages. Maybe I will use this. Summarize long threads and documents and search across apps without leaving the page you're on. No new tabs, no switching apps, no losing your place. It's designed to help people stay focused and work like the best version of themselves without friction, content switching, and busy work that can drain time and attention throughout the day. Now, I'll tell you how I know about this because we are very happy users of Grammarly. We've been using Grammarly for years. Now part of the Superhuman family, Superhuman Go, from the makers of Grammarly, works across the tools and sites you're already using, your browser, your inbox, your docs, your project tools, just like Grammarly. It fits naturally into the way work already happens. It handles the repetitive tasks so people can focus on the work only they can do. Check it out. Find out more at superhuman.com. That's superhuman.com. We're so glad they decided to support this show. Superhuman.com. We love Grammarly. We use it all the time. I think I'm going to have to install Go. See what I can do with it. A few final thoughts before we wrap things up on the show today. Let me see. We had a whole oops segment planned. All the things AI did wrong this week. Let me see. I have a few more here. U.S. auto. Now, I don't know if this is a good idea. U.S. auto regulators want to eliminate the brake pedal in your robo-taxi.
Why?
That's a good question. They say that requiring manually operated methods of stopping driverless vehicles is a barrier to innovation.
Didn't one just go into someone's? Oh no, that had a person in it. I'm sorry. There was the Tesla crash, right?
Yeah, there was now either Tesla, but the robo-taxi or the Waymo or whatever. Yeah, actually, there's always a big red stop button, isn't there? It's like "Get me out of here" button. NHTSA
I've never been in one.
Yeah, me neither. So I don't know. NHTSA is that they have them in Atlanta, don't they? Oh, you're in South Carolina. That's right.
Yeah, I live in Charleston. I don't. We have horses and carriages.
They'll never have them in Charleston. Never.
I doubt it.
NHTSA, the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, published a notice of rulemaking on Friday to modify federal brake safety standards. I have to think Elon had something to do with this. For light vehicles by eliminating the requirement for vehicles equipped with automated driving systems and no manual controls to have foot-operated service brakes or manually operated parking brakes.
So there would still be some kind of stop, though. It just wouldn't be a brake. I think I see that. Like they're saying this is a completely different type of vehicle.
You don't have a steering wheel.
There's no one sitting there with their feet on the pedals. So as long as there's some way of stopping it, please.
Yeah. You gotta go into your app.
Go into the app. Open your app.
No.
Yes. Stop, please.
Another technology regulation metaphor.
Yeah. 1 million passports have leaked online. A database of 1 million passports, not just U.S. passports. People were using, guess why? People were using passports for age verification.
Mm.
This is the problem. One of the many problems with age verification. The person who wrote the book Careless People, which was an excellent book, Sarah Wynne Williams, it was an expose on her years working at Meta, and it was wow. Meta is now going after her. She says they're punishing me, even though I'm a whistleblower. They're punishing her for disclosing its illegal and indefensible workplace conditions and corporate misconduct to federal regulators. She did write a book and probably made some money on it. She says Meta is doing this to strike fear into the heart of anyone else who dares to consider speaking the truth about Meta's unlawful and abusive practices in the public interest. Meta, of course, went after her in court and is suing her. Finally, we are so sad to have learned of the passing of Om Malik. I don't know, Jenny, any of you know Om?
Yeah, it was impossible to work. I mean, I did not know him well, but you couldn't work in technology,
he was
media,
so amazing.
In the aughts and 2010s without knowing him.
Yeah. He was on our show, I think 14 or 15 times. I was a huge fan. He was a deep philosopher, a great artist. A master with a Leica camera. He loved his Leica and took amazing pictures. Started the tech blog GigaOM. Many of the people you know who've been on this show, besides Ohm, worked at GigaOM. Stacy Higginbotham, Kevin Toffel, Yanko Reckers. A lot of the best journalists in tech started at GigaOM. He started that in 2001. Semi-retired, I think 2014, to become a venture capitalist. Had investments in a lot of the companies you know. Let's see, 2015, GigaOM shut down with 6.4 million monthly readers. Was really one of the great places to get tech information. He was always a welcome visitor to the show. He once called me the Yoda of tech, and I said, "No, you're the Yoda of tech. I'm the Jar Jar of tech." He had this deep understanding, and you know what's really sad is that his blog, which is om.co, some of the best articles he'd ever written just came out this month. For instance, June 7th, his article about Mythos. Just brilliant writing. His writing was better than ever. He'd had heart trouble for years, passed away this week, Wednesday, at the age of 59. Very, very young. But we are very happy to have known him, and we will miss the man. If you go to our site, twit.tv, and search for Om Malik, O-M-M-A-I-L-I-K, you'll find many shows that he appeared on. I think his last appearance here was around 2015. When his health problems began. But I brought up this article, I think a few weeks ago, that I would recommend everybody read if you want to get a sense of whom Om Malik is. We are living in Pinocchio's world, in which he writes about one of his favorite pens, a Mont Blanc that commemorates Pinocchio. But the article takes a little bit of a turn when he talks about the true meaning of Pinocchio and the fact that we are all living in Pinocchio's world today.
One of the greats.
Really, really one of the greats, and we will very much miss him. That is it for This Week in Tech for this week. I want to thank you, Jennifer Pattison-Toohey. You're wonderful. I will say nice things about you when you pass away. Senior reviewer, no, I'm much older than you. Senior reviewer, TheVerge.com. She writes about all kinds of things, but especially home automation. Tell me some of the doohickeys you've got around the house today.
Oh, well, next week I have lots of reviews coming out. I've been reviewing the new Google Home speaker and the new Schlage Sense Pro smart lock that you should have waited to buy.
I should have waited to buy, yes.
And then those weird robot things that I can't wait to get rid of. And
like the SwitchBot. I can't wait to read review of that.
Yeah, because I'm normally quite nice, but
even the kids didn't like this thing.
Not really.
That's what surprises me. I mean, isn't it supposed to be all cute and cuddly?
That's the thing. It's not cuddly. You want to pick it up, but it's
hard plastic, and it's on wheels, and it's taking pictures of your house.
And there's so many things. I love SwitchBot. SwitchBot is a great company. They come up with all sorts of crazy and wonderful ideas, but this one I'm not sold on.
Yeah.
And then the robot lawnmower is in my backyard. You were talking about not getting injured. Well, you don't get injured in home automation, but my robot lawnmowers beg to differ.
Do not lie in front of your robot lawnmower.
Sean knows.
It hasn't hurt you, has it?
No, well, it hurt my husband, but it was technically his fault. So, but just in
not
general,
badly, I hope.
No, just permanent scarring. But
oh my God, it nipped him.
It was again his own fault. But there are it's a dangerous job. I'm just telling you.
Oh my gosh. Which one do you have?
Right now, I'm testing one from Dreamy, one from Husqvarna, and one from Motion.
Oh, so you have the best mowed lawn in your neighborhood.
You'd think.
Is this because you're the only Verge reviewer who has a lawn?
Has a lawn, yeah.
Yes. This is the real reason. It's so nice to see you. Jennifer also pops up every month with Micah Sargent on Tech News Weekly, and we always love having you on the shows. Thank you. Dan Patterson's in Brooklyn, so he neither has a lock nor a lawn, but he is.
He has a lock.
I have a lock. They're just
a lock.
Old-fashioned key locks.
Yeah, he probably has many locks, actually. Senior Director of Content, Blackbird.ai. Tell me what's going on at Blackbird. Last time you were on, you made an offer. People could sign up for your disinformation detector. Is that still out there?
Yeah. We have a number of tools. Most of them are not consumer facing, but we do have one called Compass. That's compass.blackbird.ai, which it is made for journalists. And I mean, everyone else. It will detect deepfakes or claim, like if you see a post on the social web and you wonder, is this BS or real? Just paste it into Compass and it will tell you not just true or false, but it will tell you the context. We call it a context checker, not a fact checker. And far more than, just generative AI links. It'll give you real deep context and let you find and read more about what you're finding. Also, of course, deepfakes and others.
I get bit all the time now, especially on X. They had that, or maybe
I love the recent searches. That just sums up the world right now.
Social media bans and right.
Is Taylor Swift breaking with Travis Kelsey?
No, they're getting married, I found out. They're getting married.
And Donald Trump won the election. Like, those are the two most important things in the world.
Yeah. Type of claim in. But I saw this video. I'll have to find it, and I can feed it into because you do vision, which is fantastic.
That's great.
I can feed it in. It was a picture of a cat and a tube, and the cat would jump down the tube and slide down it and just form to it. I thought, I got to get one of those. And then Lisa said, "You dummy, that's AI. You can't. Cats don't slide down tubes. What are you, nuts?" So I guess I have, in a way, I have Compass. It's my wife.
Right.
But there are times even Lisa might be fooled that I could use compass.blackbird.ai. Yeah. And it's really nice to have that. Thank you for doing that.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Sorry about the frog voice.
No, you sound fine. Our Discord chat, our club chat says, "Leo, you're such a boomer." I saw it. It was a video. The cat went down the tube, and
I saw it. I didn't believe
remember
it.
That? Were you even for a moment fooled by that?
No. I am fooled by the stairs, though. They're showing in the chat. I can imagine a cat doing that.
Oh, well, let me see now. Okay, this is a test for everybody to see.
The slide.
Oh yeah, that looks real. Sure, that's AI. No, that's real.
That looks quite real to me, but who knows these days? You can't believe your eyes.
Exactly. If you're smart, you make it kind of like low quality, fuzzy. Yeah. Well, anyway.
We've got Dan to save us.
Here's what happens when a cat jumps down a tube. I think that one's real. Cats do get up to the darndest things, don't they? And then there's Daniel Rubino. He is the editor-in-chief of the wonderful Windows Central. It's always a pleasure to see you, Daniel. I am sorry that you're not into FIFA soccer or F1 sports, but I'm glad you're into Microsoft and Windows. Thank God somebody is.
They were playing here at Foxborough, so I
know. You're just up the road a piece and everything.
Yeah.
Could you hear the cheers?
No, but they got the signs on the highway. So
I love it how they say, what did they say? Like New York, New Jersey Stadium or something. I mean, it's not even in New York. It's where the Giants play, but it's.
Oh, right. Yeah. They did give it.
It's in Massachusetts. Yeah. It's the same thing with this. So they're using the 49ers Stadium down in Santa Clara, but they say San Francisco. It's not San Francisco. It's 50 miles away. It's like Foxborough.
It's like every place in Boston. It's like, I mean, Massachusetts is basically just Boston, right? So
right.
It's all we're known for.
It's now Scotland. It's now Scotland officially, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Right. Yes.
Was it true that the Scots drank all the beer in Boston? Is that true?
South Boston. That's the rumor. But I think it was just from one pub. But yeah.
It was a good story, though.
So you're telling me that a cat couldn't.
Cat videos. Okay. That is what AI is for.
But this is the tube. And I swear to God, I think that's real. Don't you think a cat could do that? No?
I don't
know. They built a data center next to my house for this?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Do you live next door to a data center?
No, I live in Brooklyn.
No, you live in Brooklyn. No locks. Okay, let me get this straight. No lawns, no data centers, but the best pizza. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Thanks especially to our Club Twit members who make this show possible. We really appreciate your support. If you're not yet a member, please, twit.tv/clubtwit for ad-free versions of all the shows. The shows in Club Twit now have chapter markers, so you can jump past all the cat videos. That's very handy. We also have a wonderful Club Twit Discord, special programming. On Friday, we did our second episode of Off by One with Jeff Atwood. Had so much fun. All of that because you support this podcast. It's, I think, so important to support independent journalism of any stripe. You should support all the ones you use, and we appreciate your support here at twit.tv/clubtwit. We do This Week in Tech every Sunday afternoon, 2 to 6, I'll make it 2 to 5 Pacific. That would be 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch the show live as we do it at, in our Club Twit Discord, but also YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at the website. That's twit.tv. There's also a YouTube channel with a video, and you can subscribe to audio or video versions of the show in your favorite podcast client. I hope you will do that. And we thank you so much for stopping by, as I've said, for now 21 years at the end of every show. Thanks for being here. Another Twit is in the can. See you next week. Bye-bye.
This is amazing.
Doing the Twit.